Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Footfield in Edmonton and the 29th Annual Alberta Senior Bowl, featuring the very best of the graduating class of high school football players in the entire province. My name is Dave Rozak, and with me, former Edmonton Eskimo great Blake Dermott. And Blake, well, I tell you what, there are going to be a lot of nervous young men out there, and this is just a big, huge day for them.
It certainly is an exciting culmination of their high school careers, because this will be the last game they'll play as a high school football player, and with being able to be on the field with the most talented kids of your age group in front of one of the largest crowds they'll play against in the course of a year. For some of these kids from smaller centers, this is going to be just a fantastic experience, and it'll be exciting for them. You know,
you have personal experience. Your young lad Brock was actually in one of these games back around about 2004 or so. So you know what's going through their minds.
Absolutely. He played in 2004, and then in 2007 I was a head coach of the North team, so I've had an intimate experience with this whole weekend and the process that leads up to it, and it really is something that these kids will remember, and I certainly remember it for, I'll remember it for the rest of my life.
I've talked to a couple of the head coaches. Tim Bryson, of course, from Claresholm is the head coach of the South team, and the head coach of the North team is Kelly Johnson from Cold Lake. They both told me it's been just a fun experience for them to be coaching such great football players.
Well, and so much is said about the kids getting a chance to meet kids that they played against and opponents, but it's also a really cool experience for the coaching fraternity, for guys to get together and share ideas. And you may have coached against certain people, or you've known them for a long time as somebody on the other sideline. But this was for me it was a great experience and something I really enjoyed.
Let's talk about the game and the kind of football that we can expect out there this afternoon.
Well, because you are dealing with the most talented kids at this level, I really expect to see this looking more like a professional game, and that in high school there probably is somewhere on average maybe about 30% of the game is passing, and some teams will throw more than that, but on average it's probably about 30%. I would expect to see the ball in the air about 60% of the time in this game, and with the talent they've got at quarterbacks with Brandon Reese and Jonathan Erickson in the North, and then you've got Kai Sampson and John Evans in the South. These guys have put the ball in the air an awful lot this year, and I would expect with the receiving core that they've got here, the type of offensive lineman that can add the protection, we're going to see the ball in the air an awful lot, which makes it a little bit difficult for defenses because they're predominantly set up and used to seeing teams trying to run the ball at them. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge for the defenses against the offenses today.
All right, I think we're going to go down to field level now in the introduction of the players.
Football players in the province from the over 5,000 players currently participating at the scholastic level. Their coaches are chosen from the provincial finalist or league championship teams from the North and South, respectively. And now, introducing the players for the North All-Star team. From Hunting Hills in Red Deer, number 1, Leighton Barisnikoff. Number 5, from Lloydminster, Alberta, Garrett Musgrave. Wearing number 7 from East Glen High in Edmonton, Atlas Blanchette Van Ooplu. Number 10 from Lacombe, Alberta, Jonathan Erickson. From Bev Facey High School in Sherwood Park, number 11, Jake Withrow. From Hunting Hills in Red Deer, number 15, Brandon Reese. Wearing number 17 from Holy Rosary, Lloydminster, Eli Clausen. From Bev Facey in Sherwood Park, number 20, Noah Perkins. Also from Bev Facey in Sherwood Park, number 21, Esteban Velasco Lugo. Wearing number 22, from Jasper Place in Edmonton, Maurice Dubois. Number 24, from Strathcona in Edmonton, Trey Irwin. From St. Francis Xavier in Edmonton, number 25, Daniel Kovacs. From Fort Saskatchewan, number 27, Parker Collum. Wearing number 28 from Leduc High, Austin Ziltner. From St. Albert, number 32, Koen Klinge. From Ross Shepherd in Edmonton, number 33, Carlos Phelan. From Holy Rosary in Red Deer, number 34, Chopper Hippie. From Lindsay Thurber in Red Deer, number 35, Evan Aldridge. From Hunting Hills, also in Red Deer, number 42, Kaylin Vickery. From Archbishop O'Leary in Edmonton, number 44, Ethan Menard. From Bev Facey in Sherwood Park, wearing number 45, Ty Smith. From Belrose High School in St. Albert, number 51, Matt Coogan. From St. Joseph's in Grand Prairie, number 52, Logan Dobko. Also from St. Joseph in Grand Prairie, number 54, DJ DeSuter. From Father Mercredi in Fort McMurray, number 55, Cale King. From Holy Trinity in Fort McMurray, number 57, Calden Magraby. From Ross Shep in Edmonton, number 58, Scott Barazik. From Bev Facey in Sherwood Park, number 60, Ryan Selski. From Strathcona in Edmonton, number 62, Cole Caulfelt. From Lloydminster, Alberta, number 64, Kyle Thies. From Belrose in Sherwood Park, wearing number 65, is James Serrani. Wearing number 66 from Strathcona in Edmonton, Calvin Fung. Also from Strathcona in Edmonton, number 77, Daniel Shin. From St. Francis in Edmonton, number 80, Benjamin Filipenko. Wearing number 82 from Lacombe, Matt Darnell. From St. Joseph's in Grand Prairie, number 87, Silas Jelinek. From Hunting Hills in Red Deer, number 88, Nathan Levine. From Peace River, Alberta, number 92, Reese Winder. From Bev Facey in Sherwood Park, number 95, Joshua Irons. And from Strathcona in Edmonton, number 99, Jaden Williams. Head coach Kelly Johnson from the provincial Tier 4 finalist Cold Lake Royals and the rest of the North coaching staff. And now, introducing the South All-Stars. From Medicine Hat, wearing number 1, Jaron Halliday. From LCI in Lethbridge, number 5 is John Evans. From William Aberhart in Calgary, number 7, Matt Carrieth. Catholic Central in Lethbridge, number 10, Kai Sampson. From Cardston, Alberta, wearing number 11, Mikhail Mujalski. From Burt Church in Airdrie, number 12 is Dakota McKay. From Rundle College in Calgary, number 15, Kamara Bishop. Wearing number 17 from Henry Wisewood in Calgary, Nick Pollitt. Also from Henry Wisewood in Calgary, wearing number 20, Tyler Santos. From MCLA in Calgary, number 21, Austin Morgan. From St. Francis in Calgary, number 22, Ethan Gee. From MCLA in Calgary, number 24, J.L. Kumbalaser. From Central Memorial in Calgary, number 25, Liam Vig. From Foothills in Okotoks, number 28 is Peyton Price. Also from Foothills in Okotoks, wearing number 32, Seth Nelson. And Holy Trinity Academy in Okotoks, number 33 is David Bowers. Notre Dame in Calgary, number 34, Aiden Miele. Wearing number 35 out of Bishop Grandin in Calgary is number 30, Scott Strauss. From Lester B. Pearson in Calgary, number 42, Omar Diallo. William Aberhart, Calgary, number 43, Caden Cretney. Wearing number 44 from St. Francis in Calgary is Parker Smith. Crescent Heights, Calgary, brings us number 45, check that, Ethan Gilbalt. Notre Dame in Calgary, number 50, Daniel Kwamu Kepso. From Cochrane, Alberta, number 51, William Eilers. From St. Francis in Calgary, number 52, Hudson Magapinto. From Olds, Alberta is number 54, Niels Haney. From Ernest Manning in Calgary, number 55, Jonathan Dorisitz. Crescent Heights in Calgary, number 57, Sabomi Oyasoro. From Henry Wisewood in Calgary, number 58, Carter Johnson. Wearing number 60 from Medicine Hat, Cody Lyons. Also from Medicine Hat is number 62, Aiden Beatty. From Winston Churchill in Lethbridge, number 64, Dorian Zudima. From Henry Wisewood in Calgary, number 65, Daniel Stefanik. From Notre Dame in Calgary is number 77, Liam Cross. From Cochrane, Alberta, number 82, Daniel DeBruin. Lester B. Pearson in Calgary is number 92, Daniel Tassi. MCLA in Calgary, number 95, Quadwo Bohan. And from Henry Wisewood in Calgary, number 99, Martin Levkovsky. Head coach Tim Bryson from the provincial Tier 4 champion Willow Creek Cobras and the rest of the South coaching staff.
Well, Blake, the introduction of the players, and as you look down on that roster for both these teams, a lot of speed, but particularly in the South, a lot of size, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking at their offensive line, checking them out. They're considerably bigger, height-wise, and their average weight is a lot greater.
All right, let's pause for the playing. Well, we're going to have the coin flip first, and then we'll be having the playing of the national anthem. One thing about coaching a team like this, and you know yourself what it's like, Jonathan Erickson, you always look at your quarterbacks and you say, well, who am I going to start? Who's got the best arm? Who's got the best speed? Who's most suited to this game? And Jonathan Erickson from the South, or from the North rather, looks like he could be a winner.
Yeah, I think they, just looking at the two kids that came running out from the South, was pretty impressed with all the quarterbacks. We know that they went to be selected on this team. You've got to have an ability and a talent, and I'm thinking that we're going to see really good things from all four of them.
A lot of tough decisions to be made for these coaches to see who is going to get the initial start in this football game. And of course, we'll have to wait for that. But one thing the coaches can't do, and that's just because it's a 3-day training camp, you really can't put your mark on a team in that short of time.
Well, the year that I did was a head coach, you're given a little bit of a time and ability. But one of the things that you have to be really cognizant of is that you can't throw too much at them, regardless of the fact that the kids are the best and most talented and most committed kids that you'll probably coach as a group. But they still are kids, and you got to be able to give them, feed them just enough that they can have some success. If you go in there and add too much stuff, too many trick plays, too many concepts that they're not used to, because you got to remember that we talked about this, over 100 high school football teams in the province. And they all play different systems, so they have to be really careful about what you put in. It's kind of vanilla, but make sure people have success.
All right, now we are ready for the playing of our national anthem. And with the playing of the national anthem, we're about to get this 29th annual Senior Bowl Championship high school all-star game underway here at Footfield. And this one, as I mentioned, has been going on for 29 years. The South has a bit of an edge, about, I think it's 15-12 in terms of victories over the years. No real surprise there. The South always seems to come up with some really, really tough teams.
Well, just looking at in the last number of years, the South is the 4 years. The South has won 3 of the last 4 high school championships, and a lot can be said that they were very, it is a stronger league, or it has been. But things go in cycles, and last year Harry Ainley went down and had success and won the provincial championship at the Tier 1 level, and they look like they're in just as good a shape as they were last year to be able to do the same thing. And there were certain cycles in the Tier 2 division where Austin O'Brien was winning in the north. Consistently they were winning, and so was ABJ going back a few years. But you see that the pendulum has swung a little bit to the south in the last few years, and I think that we'll see how this game goes, because this is usually a measuring stick to see how close the teams are. Now, the games, there hasn't been very many of them over the 29 years that have been blowouts. Yeah. They've all been relatively close. And I remember my sons being involved in 2004. That went into overtime. So then that's the way it should be. When you've got the same level of talent, you got the same amount of time to be able to put plays in and teams in, and offenses and defenses, they should be relatively close.
All right, Seth Nelson has the ball set up on the tee at the 45-yard line, and the young man from Foothills in Okotoks will get this game underway. It's a high end-over-end kick. It'll come down to about the 35-yard line, and it's in and out of the hands of the receiver, Garrett Musgrave, but he is able to pounce on it. And from there, the North, it's a high end-over-end kick. It'll come down to about the 35-yard line.
And it looks like Jonathan Erickson is starting the game. A little nice little trick, a little pooch kick is what they did. They didn't want to pound it deep. They put it up high in the air, and hopefully the North had trouble handling the ball and fielding it, which they did, and almost got a turnover early in the game.
All right, Jonathan Erickson at quarterback. In the backfield for the North, number 24, Trey Irwin. There's the handoff up the middle. And a gain of close to 7 yards on the play. The ball taken by number 44, Ethan Menard, out of Archbishop O'Leary.
Well, here I was talking about them throwing the ball and airing it out. The first play to come out, it was a nice little run play, straight up the gut.
Up the middle.
Nice cut back to the left side, behind the tackle. Left tackle had a nice cutoff block and gets them into a nice situation on second down.
Menard, the single setback, motion goes to the left. Back in the pocket, firing, and it is complete at about the 45-yard line. Enough for the first down. Nice grab by number 88, Nathan Levine, out of Hunting Hills. Back motion goes to the left. Back in the pocket, firing, and it is complete at about the 45-yard line. Enough.
Defend,
back motion
when you
goes
got man
to the left.
Protection like
back
that,
in the pocket,
just,
firing, and it is complete
he throws
at about
it on the third step, and they only need to get 3 yards. And real, as I said, difficult for the defensive back, but nice coverage to limit him to just the 3 yards.
Again, Menard is the single setback. Now they'll move things around in the backfield. And the handoff to Menard on the other side. He finds a hole and goes all the way up to about center field. There is a fumble on the play, but no, he picks it up, and looks like he may have injured his right leg a little bit, but a good run and just straight ahead football.
You know, the offensive line is doing a very nice job of being able to open up holes. There was options for him. If Menard had cut that thing back to the left side, he probably could have gone even further.
All right, now we've got 3 receivers to the far side of the field. There's the snap, and there's going to be an offside call against the South. You could see where Erickson gave that little bit of a shuffle in the backfield, and that drew the defensive line offside.
Yeah, this is going to help them, because let's see if they call it. The flag came from the far side of the field. Mm-hmm. There we go. Got it right. I hesitated there for a second. So that's really nice. You know, if you get down to second and short, and little voice inflections to draw the team offside, which is what they did. The guys were all amped up. They're excited, and got the defensive line jumping. I believe that was 54 who might have jumped in that play. Niels Haney.
All right, so that moves the football up to the 51-yard line. And we're now in South territory. The North on the move after that opening kickoff. Erickson still at quarterback. Fires it into the middle. It is complete just over the 50-yard line, and getting ahead for another yard or two was the big receiver, number 28, Austin Ziltner, out of Leduc Composite, and he'll be heading to the Edmonton Huskies this year, and you can bet that Ian McLean was taking note of that.
Again, a nice little timing route. They put quads, 4 receivers to the short side of the field, and then he just hit the short hookup guy. Was just reading to see which guy dropped off and left the soft spot.
So a gain of about 3 yards on the play. There's the handoff now left side taken by number 27, Parker Cullen from Fort Saskatchewan. And he plows ahead to around the 45. So another gain of about 2 or 3 yards. It'll be third and about 4 yards for the first down. So the North will be forced to kick this one away. And I want to talk about the young man who's going to be doing the punting for this team. He has been in the game of football for something like 7 weeks and is just learning how to punt the football. He's so used to kicking that round ball, but now he's got the pointy ball to kick, and his name is Kuhn Klinge. And he's been working hard with Luca Capelli from the Huskies, and he takes the snap, gets a low driving ball and a good bounce all the way down to about the, say about the 17-yard line. So we know exactly what he's going to be doing this afternoon, just trying to get the football downfield, and hopefully that's all he'll need.
Well, you know, that was actually a really smart kick. It came out at the 17-yard line. First of all, he had to field the snap that bounced to him, and then he was able to just kick it end over end and got a nice roll, and puts the South team into a little bit of a hole to start their first drive.
Kept his wits about him and got the football away. There's the handoff now with the South, taking the ball up to the line of scrimmage and stopped after about a gain of maybe a yard or so. And that was number 20, Tyler Santos out of Henry Wisewood.
And the quarterback, the starting quarterback for the South is Kai Sampson, and got a pretty strong arm. Looking at some of the statistics for Kai, he threw the ball 276 times last year, which is quite a bit for at the high school level.
1,236 yards and 14 touchdowns, so you know he can throw it. Back in the pocket now, the lefty fires it into the sidelines, and it is over the head of the intended receiver, Kamar Bishop from Rundle College.
A nice job by the defense, put them into a second and long situation, so now you can sit off and play your coverages and force the Kai Sampson to choose a wide side out. You know, he's throwing from the near sideline or near hash marks, and that ball went out of bounds. We saw that he's got pretty good range with that ball, but if that's his only choice, or if that was a choice that he took, that's a tough one, because the defense wants to force you into making those decisions.
Okay, we're getting ready for this punt. It'll come from about the 10-yard line or so. Seth Nelson doing the honors. He gets a good high spiraling kick down to about the 50. It'll bounce into the North territory to the 45-yard line, and we're going to have a good downfield tackle, but nevertheless a flag on the play. It'll probably be no yards.
Yeah, that was a nice job by the returner by making sure he grabbed the ball, because then if you're grabbing it, well, the guy hasn't had a chance to break down completely and draw the no yards. But it's just of the I want to say it's of the 5-yard variety, but.
Well, the ball was bouncing, so we'll...
Yeah, 5 yards.
Yep. And it is. That'll move the football to the 50-yard line in the North Territory.
It still turns out to be about a 46-yard, even with the 5-yard penalty. So that was a good decision by the coverage team to take that penalty and not allow any return. 3
flankers to this side of the field. Ethan Menard, still a lone setback. Hand off to Menard. He takes to the right side, finds a hole, and gets all the way up to center field. We have a flag in the backfield.
Yeah, it looks like it's holding on the North team. I'm not sure who the number was, but Menard was able to, that run looked even better. Let me see here. Where they calling? I don't know where they called the holding. We got instant replay, but I didn't see where that holding was. Unless it was on the edge.
10:14 to go here in the first quarter. No score between the North and the South. Holding will be the call. That'll bring the football back to about the 40-yard line. First down over again. There's the snap. Handoff once again to Menard. Same play, but this time there was no opening rather, and he is maybe down after about 2 yards or so. Make that 3.
Yeah, that is now And I know this is it's early in the game. There's only been really every first down they've run the ball, and at some point you're going to have to be a little bit. You're going to have to make a different decision so that the defense doesn't figure that out and load you up in the first downs.
3 flankers to the far side make that 4. Back in the pocket now, rolling out, passing. Has a man open over the head of the intended receiver, Jake Withrow, from Bev Facey. And Withrow actually made a couple of good moves about halfway down and was in behind all the coverage.
Yeah, that really was that was a well-designed play. The nice job by the receiver, the fourth receiver, to come and seal the edge so that the quarterback could get outside and throw the ball. Like it was a well-thrown ball, just a little bit outside of where Withrow could get to. It was the right target. He just overthrew him by a couple of yards.
All right, Klinga getting ready for the snap. Again, a rolling ball, and he is going to take off with it, but is taken down from behind on a good tackle by number 54, Nils Haney, out of Olds, Alberta.
Well, that's 2 times now that snap has rolled back to the kicker. And this time was a little bit he couldn't field that. You can see it just the first one just bounced right in front of him. The second one was about a 3-roller, and difficult for him to hang on, get the ball up to kick it.
Welcome to the All-Star game.
Great field position for the South.
Ball down at about the 17, 18-yard line. Back in the pocket now and firing into the end zone. Man open, and it is caught for a touchdown. Great job holding on to that football by number 28, Peyton Price, out of Foothills in Okotoks, and a nice pass too.
Yeah, Kai Sampson. We talked about his arm. I think that if he had this, had this one back, he would. I think he underthrew him a little bit. But a really nice attack on the ball by Peyton Price to go up there and get it and pull it down. It was a little bit underthrown, but he knew where the ball was. The defensive back didn't, so he was able to identify it, locate it, and pull it down, and a spectacular catch.
He had the DB looking both ways, trying to find the football, and couldn't come up with it. All right, this is the point after. With 8:47 to go in the first quarter, it is through the uprights. And it is a 7-0 football game in favor of the South as they capitalize on a turnover deep in North Territory.
Yeah, and those kinds of turnovers are typically what you see in these All-Star games. Is you see some usually a fair number of penalties. We've seen 2 already today, offside, no yards. But then you also see some busts in coverage where you'll see sometimes a guy will just be running absolutely free because the communication isn't really strong. You'll see often teams will move the ball really well, and then you'll have periods where they just don't even move the ball at all because of communication. But the one thing that always sort of stands out is the talent level of these kids and how resilient they are. So I think that Kai Sampson step back and threw a ball. You take advantage of a turnover deep in the other team's end, throw the ball deep, and because here's the thing: if you throw it twice and you don't score, you got a chance to kick field goal anyway. So be aggressive with the play calling, which is what the coaches did.
Well, it'll be interesting when the second quarter starts and we get a look at John Evans, who was the other quarterback for the South. 1,400 yards passing this past season. There's a good kickoff, and it's taken up to about the 32-yard line, and it is there where the North will take over the football. And
that was a great open field tackle by Daniel Cuomo Kepsu. I knew I was going to have to say that name.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, no, that was a nice tackle. It really was. Anytime you got to make a tackle in the open field like that, with right in the middle of the field, there's a lot of space. It's a skilled thing to do.
Leighton Barasenkov is the wide receiver out at this side of the football field. He's from Hunting Hills, and he is a pick of the Edmonton Huskies. He'll be with them this season. There's the pass on the far side, and it is complete to Nathan Levine. Yeah,
the South will say take that all day long. It's a nice looking pass. It's a timing pass, but it's a 2-yard pass play. So now you're in a second and long situation, and see what they're going to do defensively. It gives you so many more options to be able to try to take away what the North has to offer.
All right, gain of 2. 2nd and 8. Again, Barasenkov. and 2 other flankers to this side of the football field. There's the handoff. Going to the outside is Atlas Blanchette Van Oplu, and he still carries the ball all the way up to about the 44-yard line. Great job of running, but there is a flag in the backfield.
Yeah, they're going to call number 52, Logan Dobko, for the hold on this one, they got him right on the edge. That's why running back was able to get to the outside like he did, because Dobko got a little grab of that jersey.
Blanchette Van Oplu from East Glen, and the only player representing East Glen in this football game. He's a former Edmonton Seahawk as well, and boy, I tell you what a great program the Edmonton Seahawks have come up with this year. They all kinds of advertising, looking for football players, and just a great organization.
Yeah, there's the minor football in Edmonton, a number of different organizations, and the Seahawks have been around for an awful long time, and getting young kids involved in football at an early age.
Menard calls his own number, but he is swamped for a loss of about 5 yards on the play. And again, the North will be forced to kick it away.
I'm just trying to see who that was. It sacked Erickson right there that time, but there was just too many guys. I guess let's see if we can see the replay here. Coming off the edge. Oh, yeah, he gets wrapped up. 3 guys on him, but initially it was number 99 for the South who came in there, Martin Liskowski, yeah, who wrapped him up.
All right, so a loss of about 12 yards. It'll be 3rd and a whole bunch. Standing back at about the 5-yard line, Klinga hoping for a snap. He gets a good one and gets a good kick away as well. Spiraling kick down to about the 50-yard line. Attempted on the run and almost dropped, but picked up finally by number 11, Mikhail Mujalski out of Cardston.
That really was a heck of a kick. After the previous 2 kicks that he's had, bouncing to him, he had a lot of poise to be able to get the ball off, and they almost got the turnover right back for them. But a nice kick to get him out of the hole, put him back to the 54-yard line of the South.
1st and 10, 7:10 to go in the first quarter. 7-0 in favor of the South in the 29th annual North-South Alberta Senior Bowl. There's the handoff up the middle. It's taken by Tyler Santos, and Santos from Henry Wisewood carries it ahead for a gain of about, about 6 yards, 7 yards on the play. Or make that 5 on the play.
You know what I'm impressed with, and we've only seen 2 quarterbacks so far, but just the size of the quarterbacks. Kai Sampson's 6'3", and John Evans is 6'4", and Erickson is 6'3". I mean, these are tall quarterbacks. You're seeing more and more of that. Oh, we got a bunch of jumping there. I'm not sure what they're going to call here. The defense jumped first, then the offense jumped. So, but the
defense is saying offense. Offense is saying defense. Let's see what the referee says.
They're going to call it procedure on the offense.
Procedure against the offense. That'll take the ball back to about the 53-yard line. Still in South territory.
Well, you know, it's 2nd and really long now, 2nd and 11. The defense should be loosening up just a little bit to be able to, they're expecting a pass.
Back in the pocket. Firing to the sidelines over the head of the intended receiver, number 20, Tyler Santos, who seems to be Kai Sampson's favorite target so far in this football game, and really he fired that one. That was like a bullet.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason why that was not successful was that number 45 Ty Smith from Bev Facey undercut that ball, came underneath it, and was trying to go for the pick, but I think he might have been a little bit lucky, but I think coming underneath that distracted the receiver, made it difficult for him to be able to come down with the ball. But if he had, boy, there was nobody in behind him.
Good high kick down to the 15-yard line, dropped, picked up by Barasenkov. Barasenkov carries it ahead over the 20 to about the 22-yard line, and it'll be first down at that point for Team North as they try and get something going, trailing by 7 with 6 to go in this first quarter.
Again, another return guy. I wonder if it's the wind. It is a little breezy today. I noticed that as I was driving over here on my motorcycle. It was a little breezy, and I'm wondering if that's impacting the way these guys are having a difficult time fielding the ball so far.
Well, the wind is coming out of the west, so it may be pushing the ball across the field. There's a quick out pass, incomplete, intended at about the 30-yard line. See if I can get a number for you on the receiver, but no.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like it was going to Austin Ziltner from Leduc, but it was knocked down before it got to him.
All right, in the backfield is Atlas Blanchette Van Oplu. There's the fake pass. It is way over the head of the intended receiver, Nathan Levine. Bit of a mix-up, I think, in the pattern on that one.
Well, no, I think what the quarterback was looking at was he was trying to hit the seam route, which is, you catch the linebacker here, letting him run down the seam, but he just overthrew it. I think the quarterback was thinking that he's going to stay in a line in a path, so he threw it more towards his outside shoulder, and the receiver went inside because that's where the opening was. So I think a well thought play, but decent coverage by the defense because they made the receiver go inside.
All right, Klinga again, his fourth punt of the football game. Gets a good snap, gets another good kick away, and it will go out of bounds at about the 51-yard line.
No.
And, got the good kick.
Yeah, I got the good bounce. It looked like it was going out of bounds. It bounced back in for about another 6 yards. Again.
I was busy watching down in the field at about the 50-yard line. A couple of players actually on the turf wrestling.
He's done, considering again now his 4 punts, and the 3 of them hit the turf before it got to him, and he's kicked them out of a hole again. And the South is starting from their 51-yard line this time. Last time they started from their 54.
All right, at quarterback for the South is number 5, John Evans, and Evans flicks it out to the right side, and a gain of close to maybe 3 or 4 yards on the play.
That's number 20, Tyler Santos was the running back there. Just it's almost like a toss play, but it looked like more of a shovel type pass, and Tyler Santos just tried to get behind all of his bodies, and they gained 4 yards.
So we got a look at John Evans, the quarterback out of LCI, 1,400 yards passing, and he can run the football himself too, 800 yards rushing. There's the handoff. Up the middle once again, taken by number 20, Tyler Santos, and Santos is stopped after a gain of close to 3 yards on the play, and it'll be 3rd and another 3, so we'll see what the South decides to do. 3rd and 3, are they going to go for it? Let's see what Tim Bryson decides to call.
Well, they're going for it.
They're going to go for it.
Well, one thing about your quarterback, number 5, we got number 5. John Evans can move, make plays with his legs.
There's the pass. It is through the hands of the receiver, number 12, Dakota McKay, from Burt Church High School in Airdrie.
Yeah, and that was because Esteban Velasco Lugo.
You get all the good ones,
yeah,
don't you?
I do, yeah. From Bev Facey. Saw him a lot over the last 3 years. Got a hand on it, just tipped the ball away. He had a nice drop. He got into position, got a hand up, and tipped the ball away.
35 tackles, 2 sacks this season, or this past season for Bev Facey. All right, still at quarterback. Jonathan Erickson. Erickson back in the pocket, looks incomplete. Right into the hands of Silas Jelinek, and he was unable to hold on.
That was a well-thrown ball there. That's, again, I made this comment earlier about every series. They started with a run. They started with a pass this time, and it was a well-thrown ball, and maybe a little bit behind Silas, but certainly well enough to be caught. It hit him in the hands, and he'll be wanting that one back.
2:55 left in the first quarter. 7-0 in favor of the South over the North in the 29th Annual Senior Bowl here at Footfield in Edmonton. There's the snap, and back in the pocket, looking quick out pass to this time taken again by Silas Jelinek. Jelinek holds onto it this time, And he is knocked out of bounds at about the 40-yard line, but there's a flag down here.
Yeah, they're going to call Nathan Levine for, I think, one of those ear hole type blocks, or maybe blocking from the rear. We'll see in the replay here. Oh, yeah, it's just he hits him right in the chest, but the amateur rules are, I think he's a defenseless player here. They're starting to take away these things, these types of hits for the player's safety. See, he hits him on the shoulder, but his head was in front, and 5 years ago that would have been a great block. Now it's one of those plays that is a dangerous play, and they're thinking about player safety. But it did happen after yards were gained. Blindside block, they called them. So it did happen after yards were gained. So it's first down, should be first down, and they're just starting back a little bit further. But where they started from anyways. That was a great catch by Yelnick to be able to make up for the one that he dropped earlier. Well-thrown ball, but it's too bad.
All right, Erickson at quarterback. There's the snap and the handoff right up the middle. Big hole for number 27, Parker Cullum from Fort Saskatchewan. And he carries it ahead for a good gain of close to 7, maybe 8 yards on the play.
The undersized offensive line is doing a very nice job of being able to give some holes for this running game. I mean, they've had a decent running game here in this first quarter. The North team has, and they're committed to it, and it's given them an opportunity to be able to keep drives alive and move the ball.
Quads to the far side of the field. There's the handoff, and slipping and falling just over the line of scrimmage was again number 27, Parker Cullum.
Well, there seemed to be a whole host of the interior line of the south that moved there, so I think you can probably call offside on them. Yeah. So again, second and short.
Yeah.
A little bit voice inflection. That's twice they've caught the defensive line off on an offside plays and extended drives. Nice job by the quarterback.
Erickson, by the way, was signed in the offseason by the Bears, and he will be heading to the Bears camp and giving that a shot. Yeah,
I was there at the spring camp. I was working the spring camp as a guest coach with the offensive line, and I had a chance to watch him. He's got some talent. He's going to be a good one.
Motion goes to the right, back in the pocket now and forced out of the pocket. Erickson looks downfield, has a man open, and he's just out of the reach of the receiver down there at about the 20-yard line. That was Noah Perkins, or make that number 80, Benjamin Filipenko from St. FX.
I want to say the receiver on that was that
80. Number I got.
I thought it was 28. There was I'm just trying to look at a red helmet, and that would be Leduc.
You're right. 28. Austin Ziltner.
Yeah, that's
the young eyes win again.
Yeah, he's been a target. I think that's the third time the ball's been thrown in his direction.
Ooh, high snap, hauled down by Erickson, and he is going to be hauled down himself at about the 45-yard line. And a huge loss on the play, and that will result in a third down for the North with less than a minute to go in this first quarter.
That was an inopportune time to get a high snap like that. It almost looked like they were trying to set up a screen the way guys were coming free. But I don't know if a screen was the way they designed it. Then the defense did a nice job of taking away the option to dump the ball off.
All right, Klinga kicking this one away once again. He's from St. Albert, the lone representative from St. Albert High School. Low snap, picks it up, gets it away, gets another good one. Down to about the 30-yard line, taken on the run there by number 7, Matt Carrieth. And the William Aberhart grad plows ahead for a gain of about 6 yards. He's, by the way, Carrieth will be heading to the St. FX X-Men out on the Atlantic League.
Way out in the East Coast.
Yeah.
The returners are very aggressive attacking that ball. If they don't get it, they're going to draw a penalty, or if they do catch the ball, they're going to add more yards onto the return. And again, that was not an easy ball to field, but they're being aggressive, and that's given them an opportunity to have a decent field position.
All right, from the snap, rolling out is Evans. Evans fires it, and it is just behind the receiver, Matt Carrieth. And I'll tell you what, if he comes up with that one, he's got all kinds of room.
I think that was a case of the quarterback and the receiver seeing different things. As he pulled the ball out, the receiver continued his route towards the inside of the field. If he sees where the soft spot in the opening is over here, and he stays where he is, he goes to the inside. There's all the space on the outside. If he just stays there, it's a big play.
Back in the pocket, there is the pass. It is complete to number 17, Nick Pollock. But I'll tell you what, great job of tackling.
That was Ty Smith again.
Ty Smith, from Bev Facey.
Yeah, very aggressive. He's coming downhill when that ball's in the air. He's coming after it. He's one of those guys that, as most defensive backs, if the ball's in the air, it's not the receiver's ball. It can be yours too, and he's attacking that aggressively. That's a nice job of making the tackle.
And he's a two-way player for Bev Facey this past season. 36 tackles, 3 interceptions, but he's also had 7 receptions for something like 88 yards.
Yeah, he. Like a lot of high school teams, a lot of your best players are going to play both ways.
There's a high end-over-end kick with a good bounce down to about the 25-yard line or so. And again, the North will be starting from deep in their own zone. Both these teams choosing, I guess, to kick away from the receivers toward the sidelines.
I think that's the way they're coached nowadays. It's a. In high school, you're lucky if you can get the ball. We've seen it, just get the ball off the foot down the field because of the snap and everything else. But the reality is that if you've got a kicker, you want him to start thinking that we got to be able to. We don't want to give the return team an opportunity to get the ball and get it back upfield on us. So we try to kick it towards the sidelines.
I want to say thank you to some of our many sponsors here of this football game, the Eskimos and the Calgary Stampeders, of course, for donating the uniforms. That's all important. Houston's, Spalding, Alberta Sport Connection, Russell Athletics, the Edmonton Eskimo alumni, of which you are a member, Skyline Athletics as well. Just some of the many sponsors that have really helped put this football game together.
Yeah, Jostens has been supplying rings for high school championship teams, really? and high school rings. Anybody that's got a high school rings over the last 50 years has probably got something from Jostens.
Still got yours?
Oh yeah, still got mine. Yeah.
All right, we're getting set for the start of the second quarter.
Well, we do have some stats right here. So we, from a passing standpoint, Jonathan Erickson, 9 attempts, 4 completions for 22 yards. And the South, John Evans had 1 attempt for 3 yards, and Kai Sampson had 1 for 18, but that was a touchdown, which is the difference in the game as we stand right now.
Ball on the 25-yard line. First down for the North. There's the handoff left side taken by number 7, Atlas Blanchette Van Oplu. And in there at quarterback now is number 15, Brandon Rees out of Hunting Hills.
Yeah, I want to talk about a kid with a strong arm. We were mentioned that, and we watched him in warm-ups, how strong his arm is. He can throw the ball as well. The home team, which assumed would be the North, total net yards, 48 yards, visitors 31 yards. So it wasn't a very offensively productive first quarter.
Just a couple of turnovers, and really that's been the difference in this football game. There's the pass. It is complete at about the 34-yard line, hauled down nicely by Leighton Barasenkov. So a combination of Hunting Hills there with Barasenkov and the quarterback, Brandon Rees.
Yeah, you were saying that Barasenkov, I don't have it on my sheet here, but he had a pretty prolific. Oh, yeah, here it was 300 yards, 5th in receiving. I guess when you've got your quarterback who can throw the ball like that, when Rees is putting it out there, Barasenkov is going to pull it down.
And he will be going to the Huskies this season, looking for a shot at junior football. So again, Klinga will be forced to kick it away from about the 23-yard line. Gets another good kick away. This kid's got a strong
He's got
arm.
a strong leg.
A strong leg, rather. There's a good bounce, and there's going to be all kinds of no yards on that one.
Yeah,
it'll be a 5-yarder.
An unfortunate bounce on that because he does. I mean, he kicked it across the field away from returners, and a very strong leg, but I think he lost about 10 yards on the bounce back. A couple guys catching passes here in that first quarter as well. Levine was the #1 target. He got 2 passes for 6 yards, and Silas Jelenik at 1 reception for 12 yards. Austin Ziltner had, as we mentioned, he had 3 targets, but he had 1 catch for 4 yards. So everything's about the short passing game at this point. And then in the south, of course, Peyton Price had 1 catch for 18 yards, which was the touchdown, and Nick Pollitt 1 catch for 3 yards.
All right, first down in North Territory for the South. Back in at quarterback, number 5 is John Evans out of LCI. Handoff, fake, and taking off with it. We mentioned he could run with the football, and he is along the sidelines, finally taken out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. He looks like a gazelle out there.
Yeah.
I mean, he can
you know what he
really
looks
run.
like? He looks like a prototypical quarterback out of LCI. That's what he looks like. He's got great height, 6'3", I believe it is, or 6'3" or 6'4", and good legs. He, had over 800 yards rushing last year, as well as throwing the ball for 1,400 yards, I think is what it was. So he is going to be able to use his legs.
Now he's passing, and it is incomplete along the sidelines. Intended down there for number 33, David Bowers out of Holy Trinity in Okotoks.
And they're going to run that outside zone read again. So now they bring Kai Sampson in. I'm not sure if it's because if it's a passing situation, they want to look at Sampson a little bit more. I think that Evans certainly shows that he's got some legs and he can make plays happen that way.
Just outside the red zone, there's the
interesting
handoff, and almost fumbled. I'd like to see the replay on that, but it looked like the ball went in behind his back.
Well, what happened was the quarterback's making a read, right? And as he wanted to pull that ball, and at the last second he tried to yank it out, but the running backs, they get this internal clock that tells them, you watch it right here on the replay, that they're going to I guess we lost the replay, that there's a certain amount of time that ball's going to sit in there, and then I better take it. And so he grabbed it, and the quarterback pulled it out and ended up staying on his back. He was lucky that it wasn't fumbled.
All right, 3rd and 10, and we're going to have our first field goal attempt, and it will be coming from about the 28-yard line. Doing the honors for the South is Parker Smith out of St. Francis High School in Calgary, and a signee of the Calgary Dinos. And
yeah, we were talking about this before.
Timeout.
They called it timeout. It looks like an injury. Is it an injury? No, that's the holder. 16 players that we're aware of have committed to universities, and that's including University of Saskatchewan, Queens, St. FX, University of Calgary, UBC. Mm-hmm. So there's quite a lot of players have an opportunity and have committed. There's 83 kids on these rosters, 16 of them. That doesn't include the commits to the junior teams as well. I would hazard a guess that at least half of the kids, and there's some other ones that probably happened after the research was done by you, that will be going to play for some post-secondary team this year, and that's a pretty good number. That's a pretty high number. And
you're saying it's more than normal?
Well, I want to say that it probably is normal. I think it's difficult sometimes for some of the kids that are coming from rural areas for them to go play football someplace. They have to either choose an academic school to go to that is away from home, and to go play junior football. They're only ever in the big centers, so they got to move. So if somebody lives in Grand Prairie, they got to move to Edmonton. And as an 18-year-old, sometimes it's difficult for kids to do that.
All right, here's the field goal attempt. He got the length, and he's got the target as well. And so with 12:13 to go in this second quarter, it is the South leading the North by a score of 10-0.
When 100 years ago when I played with the Huskies, it was unusual for us to have more than a couple of guys that weren't from the Edmonton area. Now you look at their rosters, the Huskies and the Wildcats, they are absolutely filled with guys from places like Grand Prairie in that league, and Cold Lake and Lloydminster and Southern Alberta. Your BC Juniors filled with tons of kids from Medicine Hat and places like that. So yeah, it's become a little bit. I've always said the world is a little bit smaller world nowadays, and people are more willing to go places for opportunities, and certainly there's a lot of doors open for these kids on the both teams this year that are on this field.
Just for those of you who are wondering, the North and the South junior teams and U of A and Calgary, do they have an area that they scout? Are they allowed to scout, or is it split down the middle?
Just look at Blake Nill out in UBC. It's the world now.
Yeah. There's the handoff right side taken by Atlas Blanchette Van Oplu, and he is stopped quickly after a gain of perhaps a yard, not much more than that. They say he actually lost a few inches, so it'll be second down and 10 in a bit.
Sorry, back to that question, of players. They can virtually go wherever they want when they get to the university level. But a lot of it comes down to financial reasons.
So there's no territory, is what you're saying?
No, there isn't. No.
Oh, wow. Okay, at quarterback for the North, number 15, Brandon Rees out of Hunting Hills. He'll take it right up the middle himself, calls his own number, and picks up a gain of close to 7 yards on the play. Almost like a little bit of a quarterback draw.
That's what it was. There was a lead blocker. You see the number 7 for the North team leads up the Atlas Blanchette Van Opelo leads the blocking, and you try to catch the team. You're second and long, thinking, okay, well then we're going to be in a passing situation, so they soften up the defense and get into coverage. But they did a nice job of rallying to the ball.
But again, the South defense will hold, and again, Koen Klinge will be forced to kick this one away. Gets a good snap, lots of time, gets another high kick down to about the 35-yard line. Taken there by number 7, Matt Carriath, and Carriath takes it up to the 45-yard line, a run back of close to 10 yards on the play, and good field position.
And there's a flag down in the field too. I'm not sure if that's an illegal block. I don't think it was. I don't think it was a no-yard situation.
Well, lots of room.
Lots of room there. Must be a. See what they call. No, they're marching it the other way. What are they doing here?
Waiting for the signal from the official.
So it's an offside on the South and a no yards. And we looked on the replay. It didn't look like no yards, but no yards on the North. So that's a 5-yard penalty and a 15-yard penalty. So it'll be 10 yards up from where the ball was caught.
So a net gain for the South, and they should have it.
There, it looks like one of those ear hole type blocks right there. That's what I thought he was calling. Well, both offenses, and we talked about this before the game, both offenses struggling just a little bit. Are they going to re-kick it?
Yep.
Wow.
Koen Klinge is coming back. So it'll be third and about 4.
I don't know how that could be offsetting. He caught the ball in the air, which is a 15-yard penalty. If it was a bounce penalty, I could see that being an offsetting penalty, but oh well. It just never happened now.
Klinge standing at about his own 28-yard line.
Better snap.
Kick high to about the 35. Dropped at the 35 and picked up by the North. And they have a first down deep in South Territory.
And that is Trey Irwin with the fumble recovery. That's if I was just thinking if Klinge could ever figure out how to get a spiral on this ball, he's going to get so much more distance on it. But he's given some difficulty to the South team in fielding this. They've had trouble. That's Matt Carath, who fumbled the ball on that. And when the ball is spinning around like that up in the air, it makes it difficult for him to bring it down.
Well, I'm watching the ribbons on the top of the goalpost here, and they are starting to straighten out a little bit more across field. There's the pass at about the 15-yard line. It is in and out of the hands of Nathan Levine from Hunting Hills. And Levine has been by far the number 1 target of the North quarterback so far in this first half.
And that's a teammate as well of the quarterback too. When he got hit just as he threw it, so he wasn't able to get all of it into behind it, and that caused Levine to have to come back for the ball. And we saw that on the first touchdown on the South's touchdown, because they were, the receiver could track it. The defensive back is trying to look into his eyes.
But I like the height that Levine got going after that football. All right, we have delay of game. I think they had a mix-up as far as where some of the players were supposed to be.
Yeah, and you say you like the height. Nathan Levine is 6'3". That's a tall receiver. Just looking at the rosters for both South and North, and I'm not sure that there's anybody that's that tall.
Certainly, there's Harry Ainley's Trevor Morris, but he's not playing in this game. He was originally supposed to be dressed, but couldn't play. And there is a tackle and a sack. Great job chasing the quarterback down was number 54, Nils Haney, out of Olds. And he is going to sack Brandon Rees for a loss of close to 20 yards on the play.
I've been impressed with his speed. He's 6'4". He's 230 pounds, and not only does he have to come off the edge after getting rid of the offensive lineman, then he's got to be able to chase down the quarterbacks who typically are a little fleet of foot, and he was able to get to him. That's a couple times today he's made a play off the edge. Good size.
Kuhn Klinge to kick this one away from the 50-yard line. He gets a low driving kick. Good bounce into the end zone. Picking it up at that point is number 11, Mikhail Mujalski, and he will be taken down easily for a single point, and the North is on the scoreboard.
The best snap that he's had all day.
But you got to be impressed with this guy's leg. I mean, he's only been in football for about 7 weeks, and he's the lone representative from St. Albert. I think the deal is that every school gets a representative in this football game, and they picked him out of all the football players in St. Albert.
I'm not sure that's a rule, because we've talked about this, over 100 teams. There's only 83 kids, and some schools have like Facey has 5 or 6 kids on this on the team.
Taking off with the football and now firing it downfield, almost intercepted at about the 45-yard line. Number 33, Carlos Phelan out of Ross Shep, another ex-Seahawk. Just couldn't get back in time to get that football, but a good job again by the quarterback, John Evans.
Henry Wisewood has 5 players on in this game. Medicine Hat has 3. I think it because he's a specialist, and the North needed a punter, and a lot of times, it's one of your receivers, it's one of your other players that are doing one of those specialty type of plays. So they brought him in.
Handoff left side, taken by Peyton Price out of Foothills. He is tackled after a gain of close to 8 yards on the play. There is a flag.
This is going to be an interesting call if it is what I think he's called. Yeah, he called a tripping call because the defensive lineman, he reaches out with his foot and trips him. That's that defensive lineman, that would be number 45 from the North, called his name a few times, Smith. Ty Smith. Makes a nice move right here. Nice move, and Ty Smith just trips him.
So it'll be first down for the South. Ball is on their own 45-yard line. 8:07 to go in the first half. Stay with us for our halftime show. We'll have the Associate Executive Director of the Football Alberta, Tim Enger. There's the snap, and taking off with it once again is Evans. He is a constant threat to run with the football with 800 yards rushing last season.
Got another flag down here. Looks like it might be a receiver jump before the ball was snapped.
Offside is the call.
Yeah, it was a receiver down at this side. They were pointing over here, and the only receiver over here. And I don't want to make a mistake, but it looks like Kamar Bishop might have been the guy guilty of moving before the ball was snapped.
So that'll move the football all the way back to the 40-yard line. It'll be 1st and 15.
I sure like the way John Evans looks when he gets in space. Hey, they ran just basically a quarterback draw, and he hits full speed at about the third stride. It's no surprising he had 800 yards last year.
Back in the pocket now, firing far side over the head of the receiver, Matt Carrieth from William Aberhart. Carrieth had to go high for that one, but again, you're throwing with the wind across field because the wind is coming out of the west, so the ball seems to carry a little bit more.
Yeah, it's drifting on him a little bit. Looking at the flags, though, the flags, they almost look like they're blowing straight north. We don't see a whole lot of activity this way, but the other end, maybe because of the bleachers are blocking some of it.
As they pass, it is complete at the 50-yard line to number 33 for the South, and that is David Bowers from Holy Trinity. And Bowers is just shy of the first down by about a yard or so, and I have no doubt in my mind that they will be going for it.
Yeah, just a nice little out pattern there. Puts the halfback into a difficult situation.
There's the snap, and taking it up the middle again is John Evans, and Evans plows ahead for a gain of a couple yards and another first down.
I just like the energy that Evans seems to have. Just the type of offense that he's running right now. Out of all the quarterbacks that we've seen so far, he just seems to be a little bit more up tempo. I'm not sure that his throwing is at a level of everybody else's, but that doesn't mean his ability to be able to run an offense isn't at the top level.
Shovel pass to the right side. Again, taken by David Bowers, and Bowers will move ahead for a gain of about maybe 4 yards on the play. Talking with Coach Tim Bryson yesterday at practice, he told me an interesting story. He said, John Evans is the kind of quarterback that takes command. And in fact, he was even telling me how to run some of the packages.
Yeah. That's the kind of guy that he looks like. He looks like he's very confident, not afraid to pull the ball down if it's not there and take off and go.
Handoff right side, up to the 55, to the 50 to the 45-yard line, and a gain of about 12 yards on the play, and more than enough for the first down. Ball taken by, I believe it was Carriers.
Really nice, a really good read by Evans on that play and that run of that option. That was Tyler Santos who was carrying the ball there from Henry Wisewood. But yeah, he made a nice read. He saw the defensive end there and chose to give the ball away.
Looks to the side, takes off with it himself now.
Oh.
This is Evans. Evans almost taken down at the 40 on a good attempted shoestring tackle, but it ended up the tackler who got the worst of that one.
Yeah, it was number 15, the receiver, Kamar Bishop, who I think had the penalty earlier for movement, drilled number 35 right in the middle of the back as he came up to make the play.
Evan Aldrich out of Lindsay Thurby, but he's up and he's okay. Coming out of the game is Jaden Williams, and in at the defensive line spot is number 87. I'll make that 57. Calden Magbury from Holy Trinity.
I was not going to try that one. I was waiting for you to. I wanted to see how you pronounce it before I try it. I just may call him Calden.
All right, they'll move the football all the way back, and it's going to be first down now for the South. About, what, 20? 22?
Yeah, it's a long way. A long way. Almost 25 yards.
Motion goes to this side. Looking downfield. Puck is incomplete.
Yeah,
there's going to be a... Well...
Yeah,
take a look at that one. I'm not so sure about that one, Blake.
You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm going to see it. It looks like Garrett Musgrave, number 5, comes over the top, hits the hands before the ball gets there. I mean, it was a real close play, and I thought the coverage was really strong. But if you watch, just before the ball gets there,
there it is.
He's on his back, chop on his back. You know, and that's really. I don't know if you can cover it any better than that and not take a penalty, But I think it was contacting the receiver. But it's a 15-yard penalty, I believe is what it is.
And from the line of scrimmage, that'll move it all the way up to about the 45-yard line.
Yeah, and the referee number 86 was really close, and I think before that arm came down on his arm, he probably had the other hand on his back, and that's a tough call. Yeah.
So back to the original line of scrimmage. It is 1st and 10. Ball on about the 45. Oh, a little flea flicker action in the backfield, and taking off a little along the far side is Nick Pollitt. Pollitt is hammered at about the 40-yard line after picking up a gain of about 3 yards, but there was a student body of players down there.
Yeah, and that Calden was number 57, did a nice job of disrupting that because he was the one that came running free, and he forced the man running the sweep to bubble really deep, and that allowed the troops to get there to help support. So they only got a 2-yard gain on that thing, even though they probably ran about 60 yards.
Gain of maybe 2.5 or so. They'll mark the ball at around the 41.5-yard line. I think we have a timeout on the field. 4:18 to go. South has called a timeout. Going into this game, looking down at the scores over the last 28 years or so, really no high-scoring football games at all.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple that have been, 2, maybe 3 touchdown kind of a game, but very rarely is this game not close within 10 points, and that would be considered almost a blowout sometimes. I know that in 2007 when I was involved with it, we had the lead, I think, by 1 point with 45 seconds left, and they were on our 1-yard line, then took 3 15-yard penalties, and it was 3rd and 45 with the last play of the game, and they threw a ball and caught it, and we ended up losing the game. And so, I mean, it was real close, and we weren't even supposed to be in that one.
Okay. Well, while we've got a minute here, it is trivia time.
Okay.
What Alberta high school did Dan Federkill, formerly of the Indianapolis Colts, the only Alberta high school football player to ever win a Super Bowl in 2006, go to?
Oh, man. I know he played for the Dinos. He was a defensive end for the Dinos. Mm-hmm. And then, but I want to say it's Henry Wisewood.
Medicine Hat.
You know what? I was going to say that too. I was going to say Medicine Hat. God.
So, a young man comes out of Calgary, plays for the Indianapolis Colts of the NFL, and has himself a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and then he just retired, I believe, recently, because when he came up from Indianapolis, he had a fairly long career with the Stampeders. I want to say about 6 years, but it was injured quite a few times. And I think eventually it just took its toll on him.
So this time the North defense is going to hold, and they will force the South to kick this one away. Seth Nelson from Foothills gets a high kick, short one down to the 10-yard line, picked up nicely there by the North, and a tackle after a gain of about a yard or so on the play. Jake Withrow from Bev Facey was the ball carrier on that.
Just a quick story. I was back then when Federkill was playing for the Dinos. I was doing the Bears games with Bob Stauffer, and we had Jim Barker, who was the general manager of the Calgary Stampeders, in our booth, just at the other end here. And I asked him the question what he thought about Federkill, because as I was watching Federkill just destroy, the Bears offensive line, and I remember him saying, "Yeah, I don't think he's got enough in him." Something like that. I was going, "Oh, wow."
And is anybody in the NFL listening to this?
Yeah,
they didn't want to lose him.
Well, he maybe as a defensive end, he thought maybe he wasn't going to be good enough, but certainly as a football player, boy, that guy went on to play in the NFL. So.
Well, that was a quick little
trick play, direct snap to the running back coming in motion, slot back coming in motion. That's one of those here. You'll see it right here. It snapped right to, and I want to say it's Jake Withrow who did a nice job of hanging on to that ball.
Loss of 1 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 11. We're down to the final 2 minutes and 45 seconds of the first half. the South leading this one by a score of 10-1. The pass is tipped at the line of scrimmage and intercepted down to the 5-yard line. Taken by number 51, William Eilers out of Cochrane.
And Leighton Barasenkoff, if he doesn't make this tackle, it's a walk-in touchdown. Got it down to the, as it stands right now, the 5-yard line.
That's tipped at the line of scrimmage. Nice job. I believe that was number 11, Mikhail Mujalski, yes?
No, 55 was the one who got the mitts on it. Let me see, who's that? Jonathan Dorchitz. And then it was picked off and rumbled down to the 5-yard line.
So another turnover and another big break for the South, leading by 9. Ball on the 5-yard line. At quarterback is Kai Sampson. Sampson, left-handed quarterback, tosses into the end zone, and it is over the head of the receiver. And, wide open, deep in the end zone on the far side was number 26, or make that 25, Liam Vig.
I know that they're gonna substitute guys and play guys in certain situations and stuff like that. But boy, you're on the 5-yard line, and with the way that John Evans has been running the ball and using that zone read option stuff, this looks like this is tailor-made for him. And now we got a penalty here against the South to take it back 5 yards. So it's still first down though. So they now still have 3 cracks from that position, but this just seems to be where a guy like Evans would just eat it up. Mind you, when I say that, Kai Sampson did throw he had 10 touchdown passes this year as well. He's already thrown 1 in this game.
Sampson at quarterback. Fakes, takes off to the far side. He's got some room out there. He's going to be stopped at about the 5-yard line and wrestled to the ground, hogtied to the ground by a couple of North tacklers, including big number 58, Scott Berzuk of Ross Shep.
Whole bunch of confusion on that. I'm not even sure that the North or the South had enough receivers on the line of scrimmage at the time.
Good job of downfield tackling. They're taken by Daniel Kovacs as well, and Scott Berzuk. Straight ahead. Is he stopped?
It looks like they stopped him. They're going to mark him at the 1-yard line.
He did eventually get across, but I guess they're going to say that his forward motion was stopped at about the 2-yard line.
So this is a critical play here right now with the South ahead 10-1 in this game. With the amount of time left to go in this 1:56 to go in the first half. If they score a touchdown here, this is a huge, huge stand here by the defense. 3rd down.
3rd and goal from the 2-yard line. Kai Sampson at quarterback. All kinds of room to the right side. And he rolls in, but no
flag
flags.
down. There's 2 flags. But my guess is that they probably, if the ball was on the 1-yard line, they're probably going to call the defense for being offside.
So Kai Sampson can run with the football as well.
Oh, yeah. Offside defense.
He actually had 80 carries for over 1,000 yards. And 10 touchdowns.
Sorry, he had 10 touchdowns rushing the ball. I read that. He had 14 touchdowns throwing the ball. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's the point after. Through the uprights.
Another flag down. Probably another offside. Well, now it's rally time here for the North. They're down 17-1. They've got to figure out some way to get some points on the board.
Well, the big thing now is, the big thing for this football game so far is the defense of the South. I mean, they've given their offense all kinds of field position.
You know, and you look at the scoring plays by the South as well. They've come off of. It isn't that they've driven the field. The South's offense. We saw that at the beginning, after the end of the first quarter. There was the offense's net offense was 45 and 33 yards. So the South it wasn't exactly lighting it up. net yards, 48 and 31 yards after the first quarter, and 31 yards for the South. But they've got big plays, an interception and a bobbled snap, giving the ball on the 18-yard line and the 5-yard line.
High end-over-end kick will go out of bounds, and they will do it over again.
They'll probably take it at the 45-yard line, I'm guessing, or 40-yard line, whatever that rule is, rather than
35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a 40-yard line, I think, is where they're going to mark it. With a minute 41 to go, that gives them decent field position starting from the 40-yard line. They're going to put it over in the left hash. You know, one of the things we know. Oh, no, they're going to move it to the right hash now. One of the things we're going to talk. We didn't talk about too is that the, this is sort of the normal time of the year for football for some of these guys, and getting themselves in shape and getting themselves ready to play, and then playing on a day as warm as it is today can be a challenge too.
Erickson gets the ball away. It is in and out of the hands of the receiver, but a good job of coverage there by number 43. Caden Cretney. It looked like he was able to get his hand in front of the ball and distract the receiver.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he. Well, we could see in a replay. I'm not sure that he knocked it down or touched it, but it was certainly enough that it would cause some sort of a distraction. Yeah, that's another ball.
Yeah.
There's been a number of balls today that the North receivers haven't been able to come down with.
Back in the pocket and now being hurried. Still running with it and finally tackled by a plethora of South players. Erickson taken down at about the 25-yard line, and again, that South defense. I think the size is finally starting to take its toll.
Well, that was Oyasoro who came in free. Like he went by. I think it's Logan, the offensive tackle there, 52. I'm trying to find the name here. Logan Dobko. He just ran right by Logan Dobko. I don't know if that was an assignment issue, but all you could see was Dobko reaching out to try to get a hold of him. But Oyasoro got off the ball really well, and that's a difficult thing when you're trying to move the ball and you're trying to have success offensively, and you can't get blocked up.
Klinga gets a kick away down to about the center field stripe. It'll go out of bounds there, and it'll be first down for the South. Again, pretty good field position in the North Territory.
You were kind of hoping that you got the ball back with a minute 47 seconds left, that you would take off. Worst case scenario, even if you can't move the ball, you would take some time off the clock to not give the South enough time. But with a minute and 5 seconds to go from the 53.5 yard line here, they've got all kinds of time to put more points on the board.
Twin setbacks. Quarterback is still number 10, Kai Sampson. Handoff up center. And a gain of about 5 yards on the play, but there is a flag in the backfield. It's going to be holding against the South.
So that'll put them into like a 2nd and 7 or first and 20. My guess is you might want to move them back because they got the wind at their back. They can kick a field goal. He made that the last field goal that, well, what is it doing?
It looks like it's coming out of the south now.
Okay. These ones look like they're going to the south, and those look like they might be going south and east.
Yeah. It's the old bugaboo here at Foot Field. I mean, it's kind of in a bowl with the stands on this side and that berm on the far side, along with the stands up top. And so the ball or the wind wants to swirl around. There's the handoff right side. Taken by, again, number 28 for the South, and that is Peyton Price from Foothills. And he plows ahead for a short gain.
And that was a great tackle there by number 33 for the North team. Carlos Phelan from Roshap. He stepped up, made a really nice tackle, and held that thing to a couple of yards.
So it'll be 2nd and about, we'll call it 15. Ball on about the 50-yard line. The South has called their final timeout of the half. trying to come up with something to, and let's face it, this would be a very opportune time to come up with some more points and put these guys to bed.
Yeah. You know, they're in a situation where you got to dig into your playbook to see what play do I have that's 2nd and 17. You know?
Have you had time in 3 practices or 6 practices, I guess?
Yeah, this is who can throw the ball the longest. What am I going to put in here? Come up with a. Haven't seen as much of John Evans in this first half as I thought we would see. The North has split their quarterbacks pretty evenly at the quarter, but we're still seeing Kai Sampson in here, and he does have a good arm, and he said ran for over 1,000 yards this year as well. So we've got a good look at him, a multifaceted type of a player here to see what he can do to get that 17 yards.
Motion goes right, 3 receivers on that far side, and taking off with it again is Kai Sampson, but this time he'll go nowhere. Good job of tackling up the middle there. I believe it was number 21, Esteban Velasco Lugo.
Well, that's tough because it's not like you're fooling anybody with a quarterback draw, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're playing a prevent type defense, so you're going to have loose coverage by your defensive backs, but your linebackers are going to be spying the quarterback. You know, they're going to be dropping into coverage and attacking anything underneath that, and they didn't fool anybody.
So a good stop for the North. And that will certainly help them going into the dressing room with 46 seconds to go. And they've actually got pretty fair field position, the ball at the center field stripe. Waiting for the South to kick this one away. 3rd and about 12 yards to go.
There's still 46 seconds left on the clock. There's enough time. They sent their offense out. Yeah, they got their kick team. I'm just trying to see if they've got their offense out there, but no, they are going to kick the ball away.
Seth Nelson standing at about his own 43-yard line. And waiting back at close to his own goal line is Leighton Barasinkoff out of Hunting Hills. Short kick to the sidelines and out at about the 43-yard line, and good field position with 40 seconds to go for Team North.
Yeah, this is an opportunity that I don't think they would have thought they were going to have a minute ago, but this gives them another chance to get something, and they really do. It looks like the wind will be at their back, so they got to get to that range of about the 30-yard line to try to come away with some points here.
Wind is definitely picking up, and it looks like it's starting to come out of the north or northwest now. So
yeah,
swirling around here at Foot Field, and the North with the ball on their own 43-yard line. There's a snap back in the pocket. Looking downfield is Erickson. Erickson over the head of the intended receiver, Jake Withrow out of Bev Facey. Withrow had something like 7 touchdowns or 7. He's actually a field goal kicker himself. He was 7 for 14 during the season, and a big punter as well, 479 yards, 40-yard average. But they wanted to give a youngster like Kuhn Klinga a chance at it, and he's actually acquitted himself very well. Now back in the pocket, running out of it. Pass into the middle, complete at the center field stripe to the 50, still going with it along the sidelines. And all the way in for the touchdown, Jake Withrow.
Well, I tell you what, if the ball would have been thrown better in the first play to Withrow that was overthrown, it would have been a touchdown there too. I had a chance to watch this kid for the last 3 years, and boy, he's a football player. He really is. He can do it all. Like you said, he kicks, and he's got good speed. He play running back. He's got really good hands. You see that grab, and he's going to make after contact. Look at how he just runs through that. And the first ball,
he should have been knocked out of bounds at least.
He should have been, but he's really stable on his feet. And the first ball that was thrown to him, Erickson just threw it inside. They were throwing a corner out, and the old Ricky Ray to Jason Tucker play, and Erickson, the ball drifted on him to the inside, and that's why Withrow couldn't come up with it. But if the ball would have been thrown to his outside shoulder, he catches that and scores on that play. So they get him on a crossing route. And he makes a big play, which is what the North needed. We talked about that with 46 seconds or 45 seconds to go, and now 21 seconds to go. Now we've turned this into a little bit of a game,
Yep.
a 17-7.
And they're going to go for the 2 points. 17-7, 21 seconds to go. At quarterback is Jonathan Erickson from Lacombe Composite High School. Say hi to all the folks watching down in Lacombe this afternoon on a beautiful day here in Alberta. There's the snap, taking off with it, passing. It is complete in the end zone. Number 1, Leighton Barasenko.
There you go. That's what the North team needed, boy. Just a really nice big play made by Withrow and Erickson, and then Erickson feels a little bit of pressure within the pocket, uses his athleticism, gets outside the pocket and delivers a 2-point conversion. So now it's back to a 1-score game.
A little bit of zone read, done a good job on the read too by Erickson. Looked like he was going to take off with it.
Yeah.
And
he
saw the man open in the end zone.
This play right, he steps around. There's that play. It was virtually the same kind of play. He was in the pocket. He fakes a handoff inside, and then just allows himself to get outside of the coverage. They had great pressure on this touchdown pass coming from Erickson's right side. The defensive end crashes so hard. Number 50 from the south crashes so hard that allows Erickson to step outside, and that's. Daniel Cuomo Keps, who gave up the contain and allowed Erickson to step to the outside.
I think what impressed me most about that run was his ability to stay in bounds. I mean, he's got the long legs, and he was able to skip over a couple of attempted tackles. There's a good kick all the way down to the 5-yard line, and down at about the 20 is number 43, Omar Diallo. I'll make that Caden Cretney.
Well, you can see just that one play that how much a difference that makes on the north sidelines. Everybody's a little bit excited now. I think they were all a little down in the dumps after that, that last touchdown. But this is certainly something that is going to make this into a game. And that was a really a super kickoff. Boy, that was right down to the 5-yard line.
With the wind, a little wind assisted, wind coming out of the northwest. 17-9 is the score. Final 16 seconds of the first half. Now the referee is
just taking a kneel down to run the clock out.
Yeah.
We'll do the loop first.
Waiting for the clock to run down. 4, 2. And that will be the end of the first half of what is turning out to be a pretty good football game, really, when you get right down to it. It looked like the South was at a big advantage, but just in the last couple of minutes of this second quarter, the North has come back. They trail 17-9, and the second half show coming up. Halftime here at Footfield, and with me is the Executive Director of Football Alberta, Tim Enger. Seems we've done this before, Tim.
Yeah, a few times. It's been a while.
Pretty good football game.
Not bad. You know, it's the one we always say that as much as we try to organize everything, and the kids were great, and their attitudes have been spectacular the whole time through. But the one thing we have no control over is the game. That's all on them. So then they've been giving us a good show so far.
Talk about the preparations going into this game. It's a big job for everyone concerned to try and put on an all-star game, either be it here in Edmonton or down in Calgary.
Yeah, you know, and the beauty of it is with us, we get so much help. Like, we get the junior teams come out and do the selection camps for us, and the universities obviously host us in their facilities. So it's a lot less work than you might think it is, because of the thing we like to brag about at Football Alberta is you don't see this level of cooperation between everybody from the professionals, like I say, who buy the jerseys for these athletes, all the way down through the juniors, the universities, the high school coaches that come out. You don't get that anywhere else in Canada, and we're very proud of that.
I mean, they're always excited about playing in a football game like this, but last night, the big dinner, too. Yeah, we try to dress it up. You know, we have a nice banquet. I mean, once upon a time, our banquets amounted to handing out a bunch of pizza after the game, but we've got, you know, when we have a bunch of parents that come, there's 300 people at the banquet. We now incorporate our coaches awards in with it, so it's a real special night. The way this whole concept has grown from 1990, the first one back in 1990, to 2018, the changes must have been just tremendous over the years for you. Yeah, like I say, you know, from pizza at the end of the game to a banquet. We used to run it in July, believe it or not, and then we moved it to the May long weekend, and it's been a fixture here since 1995. You know, like I say, the total buy-in of every level of the sport has been great, and it's funny because now, like, the Senior Bowl used to be all we did, and that was our one big function. And now we have 3 levels of provincial team. We got football in the Alberta Summer Games. We've got a Bantam Bowl. So there's a lot of other things going on, and yet kids still try out for the Senior Bowl. You would think that might kind of the bloom might be off the rose there, but we still have close to 300 kids trying out each year. So as long as that continues, we'll keep this game going. I think this is an indication of just how much a game like this means to these youngsters. And you've been around them for a number of years. They just seem to get so excited and so intense about it. Yeah, you know, we live in a province where we're naturally situated north versus south. It happens, you know, professionally and the university level, junior teams, hockey teams, you name it. There's always a north versus south vibe. And then one of the more interesting things is, again, with all those other programs we run, a lot of these kids have been bumping into each other now since they were in grade 9. So there's that rivalry that goes on. Sometimes they're together playing for an Alberta team. Sometimes they're apart playing for North and South. So it really brings an interesting take on things. It must mean a lot to you, too, to see these kids come up from high school ranks and then move on into university ball or junior ball or perhaps even higher. Yeah, well, we've had, you know, a graduate of this program from 2001 was Dan Federkyle, and he has a Super Bowl ring, and there's dozens of them that actually wound up with Grey Cup rings. And there's a bunch of kids that will never play again, and that's kind of the nature of this particular game, is that, you know, it's a snapshot in time. These are the best kids at this particular time, and some of them decide to pack it in, and others might wind up playing in the Super Bowl, and it's kind of cool. One thing that you do have coming up, or I should say Alberta has coming up, and that is in July in Calgary, the Football Canada Cup. Yeah, that's something that's been going on since 1995, and we've been very proud of our provincial teams that represent us. Every once in a while we have to host, and we've actually hosted, this will be our 5th time of hosting the event, but we've never done it in a major center before. So doing it in Calgary comes with some challenges, but also comes with some neat aspects to it. So we've been running selection camps for our team since January, so we're not prepared. I don't know what we needed else to do. So we're hoping for good things, both organizationally and also on the field when we go to Calgary. And one thing that Football Alberta is involved with a lot is things like the under 16, the under 18 teams that actually go south of the border to play in some of these games. Yeah, we've had teams represented in the international bowls, and you know, Football Canada has kind of more or less taken the lead on that lately, where we will still provide athletes, but they'll kind of run the programs. But we were just watching in the Alumni Lounge a recap of the 2017 International Bowl that had an Alberta team in it, and you know, again, handing out pizzas in 1990, and now we actually have kids playing in AT&T Stadium where the Dallas Cowboys play. So it's pretty surreal how far we've come. Well, I know you're a little prejudiced, but you're looking for the North to come back?
Well, I always look for a good game. I mean, I never, ever, I gave up predicting the game a long time ago. And yes, born and raised in Edmonton, obviously green and gold to the core with my cheering for the Eskimos. But it's more important for us to just have a well-played game. And whichever team wins, obviously, hopefully will deserve it because of their play in the field. And so far, so good.
Well, it's been a success now for 29 years, and I'm sure it's going to go on for another 29 years. And thanks mostly to the work of you and your staff at Football Alberta.
Yeah, I'll probably still be here. So,
all right, Tim Enger, the executive director of Football Alberta. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you, Dave.
And good luck and good work in this one. We'll be back with take a look at the stats with Blake Dermott right after this.
Okay, go to the loop, please.
(17-9) the score at halftime here at Footfield in the 29th Annual Senior Bowl. And with me, Blake Dermott once again. And Blake, a good start for the South. Great job by their defense, particularly. A couple of turnovers. As a result, they get up 17-0, but a comeback in the last couple of minutes by the North.
Yeah, you look statistically, it's not been a great offensive game. I think there was 134 yards of net yards for the North and 107 for the South. But when you take penalties into account, the total offense was 104 yards for the South and 68 yards for the North. So they've done some things to hurt themselves, and two of them are turnovers. One of them was on a punt, a bobbled snap on the punt that turned into a touchdown, 18-yard touchdown pass. And then the second one was an interception that took the ball down to the 5-yard line. So really, it isn't that the offense is. See, this is the touchdown pass right after the bobbled snap, and they took the ball at about the 18-yard line and threw it deep throw into the corner, and a great catch by the receiver to be able to come up with that. So it isn't like the offense on the South has been tearing it up, but they've been opportunistic, and they've been able to take advantages of the North's miscues.
So basically, it's your typical all-star game, really, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think you would. It would have been nice, and we would have expected to see a little bit more of some of the outstanding athletes, taking, maybe a really big run, and we saw that on the North's touchdown, which came with 40-something seconds to go in the half when Withrow made a nice catch from Erickson, crossing pass across the middle of the field, and he was able to break a couple of tackles, run through a guy, and then take the tightrope down the sidelines and do an outstanding job. Here we see it right here. Withrow, Erickson steps out of the pocket, hits Withrow on a cross, and there's one guy, two guys, three guys, You know, that's the kind of thing you typically see in an all-star game is you see like outstanding athletes, guys that are the reason why they're here is because they're really good football players, and they stand out, and Withrow did that. And it was a nice job by Erickson of stepping outside of the
I was just going to say, and throwing on the run. I mean, you can't discount the job that Erickson did on that particular touchdown.
Absolutely. So maybe that gives the North a little bit of life coming into the second half because it really was kind of pedestrian. You know, a lot of the game was played between the 40-yard lines, and I think that both of these teams, you saw them sort of get a little bit more comfortable in that second quarter, and I think maybe these offenses will get a little bit more exciting for the people in the stands.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it's been all defense in this game and in most of the games prior to this because it's been low-scoring games, but hopefully this time the offense will get things going.
Yeah, and again, they've seen this highlight here, this almost a carbon copy of the original play. A super job by Erickson of stepping outside of the pocket and delivering the ball on the two-point convert to bring it within 8 points.
All right, Kai Sampson played a good portion of that first half for Team South. I expect to see John Evans in there in the second half?
Yeah, well, John Evans didn't get as much playing time, obviously, in that first half. He got a few series, but we commented on this. We thought, or certainly I did, that he looked exciting. He looked like he was somebody that was commanding that offense, and he has that dual threat. Well, then, of course, Kai Sampson can also do the same thing. He can run he can use his legs as well to extend plays. We saw him take that touchdown in from 1 yard out. So they've got some athletes over there at the quarterback position, but I would expect to see a little bit more of the kid from LCI.
You expected to see a lot more passing than we actually got in that first half.
Yeah, there wasn't as much as I thought, but I think maybe, and I think part of it is because the wind has played a little bit. There's been some balls that have been overthrown. Quarterbacks have had a tough time finding the receivers. We talked about, we showed on replays of just some misreads between the quarterbacks and the receivers. So I think that's something that maybe now after the nerves are gone, you got a whole half has been played, and maybe the offenses will feel a little bit more comfortable.
Talking with Tim Bryson before the game yesterday, and with Kelly Johnson, I asked him, what kind of defensive packages are you going to be able to put in a screenplay or whatever, and any rushing plays, but they said no. Defense is pretty simple.
Yeah,
and they're going to keep it simple.
Well, and that's something, you talked about this. You just mentioned the screenplay or something like draws or something like that. I think that one of the things that the South team has been getting a fair bit of pressure on the quarterbacks from the North, and we talked about how the size, somewhat of a size difference, but that looks like a speed and assignment mismatch that we're seeing with the South over the North. I could see some quick hitters like screens, so maybe some draws. They have been running some draws, but more screens that might take advantage of that pressure that the South is putting on them. And then, the South has done. There has been a number of times where the ball has been slightly overthrown. If they can just sort of hone in on where those passes have to be, if this wind can settle down, it could have been an aerial show in the first half.
Yeah, and defensively, blitzes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think in this kind of a game, because just all the things you talked about, the timing being off, you don't know the people that you're working with as well. So anytime you can add some disruption to the offense, it's great for defense.
All right, here's a good kick into the wind down about the 15-yard line. It'll be taken by Mikhail Mujalski, and Mujalski is piled up just shy of the 30-yard line, so a run back of about 10 yards on the play, and good field position for the South.
Folks, when you see the flags at this, they're almost completely horizontal, coming off those goalposts directly into that kick. And he still put it down to the 15-yard line. Mm-hmm. That was a good kick.
Now, being Dutch, and he's only been over here for a short time apparently, he's obviously a soccer player, and that would probably give him a pretty strong leg. Back in the pocket now, and Kai Sampson is in at quarterback. Sampson looking deep. Oh. He has a man open, and at the 20, still going to the 10, and taken down just shy of the goal line at about the 3-yard line. Great job by Kai Sampson, and a nice catch for Tyler Santos.
No, that's 22. I think Ethan G was the receiver on that thing, I think. I'm just trying to find it here. No, that's not him either.
Dakota McKay.
Number 12.
Number 12, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How did he get so wide open? He was running behind those guys and no.
So, second and or first and goal from about the 2, and
now they can't start the play until the yard markers are in place. And those poor guys, I mean, that was an 80-yard play. Those guys were still jogging down the field trying to get in place.
I noticed they tried that earlier in the football game as well. Just the quick play, just to get the defense off guard.
Yeah,
but they forgot about the officials.
Yeah, the officials they got to get themselves ready.
There you go. So this is something that will quickly quell what happened in the end of the first half with that touchdown for the North. The South now looking to get that back as quickly as they can. Ball on they'll mark it on the 3, so it'll be first and goal from the 3-yard line.
Really was a nice catch by Dakota McKay. I thought he was going to make it all the way in from Burt Church High School.
In Airdrie?
Yeah, running free. Kai Sampson was able to get the ball too.
There's a mix-up in the backfield, and taken down for a loss of about 3 yards was number 20 for the South, Tyler Santos. And it looked like they were looking for a pitch out or whatever, and Santos was thinking handoff, and he eventually got the football, but shortly after that, Noah Perkins from Bev Facey put him down.
And yeah, Reese Winder was the first guy there. Met him in the backfield, and then it was just swarmed by a bunch of people. He's from Peace River. Reese Winder's from Peace River.
So it'll be second, and they'll mark the ball ahead to the 1-yard line. So obviously there was some kind of penalty offside as a call against the North.
Well, that's unfortunate because there was just a whole bunch of problems in that backfield that the South caused themselves.
So first down over from the 1, and taking off with it is Sampson, but he is stopped at the line of scrimmage, and a great job in there by, I'm not sure, but I think it was number 92 for the North, Reese Winder, once again from Peace River. He read that one all the way.
Yeah, 2 guys. Number 20, Reese Winder spun outside of that thing and was able to help him. But number 20 from Bev Facey, and that's Noah Perkins, stepped up and made the contact. Winder didn't allow him to be able to, or Winder, I'm hoping I'm saying it right, didn't allow Kai Sampson to get outside, and was cleaned up by Perkins.
Sampson this time will plow straight ahead, and the signal from the officials, it is a touchdown. So Sampson going the direct route, picks up the touchdown, and with 13:26 to go in the third quarter, the South takes a 23-9 lead. Waiting for the point after. Parker Smith doing the honors. He gets it up and through the goalposts, and so with 13:26 to go, it's a 24-9 football game, and that's just the answer the South needed.
Yeah, they got that lead back that they gave up, that big lead they gave up in the last minute of the first half, and now again, it's we'll see how the North responds because they seem to be getting a little bit more confidence about halfway through that second quarter. They seem to be able to do a little bit more, from an offensive standpoint. They had 134 yards of offense, which is not a lot, but the South only had 107. When you take you take into account the things that you've lost from penalties and stuff like that, they end up with 66 yards of offense. So they did move the ball at 134 yards. They moved it better than the South did, but they didn't have the opportunities to capitalize on mistakes because South didn't make as many of them.
Seth Nelson will get a chance to kick with the wind, which is coming out of the northwest pretty strong, and he gets an end over end down to about the 10-yard line. Up to the 20, still going to the 25 to the 30. And finally stopped at about or close to the 35-yard line. Good run back by Jake Withrow. Withrow on both ends of the football this past season. He is a receiver and he is a kicker as well. 12 punts, 479 yards, 40-yard average, 26 punt returns for over 244 yards.
Well, Jake Withrow had one catch in that first half for 68 yards, and the other top receivers was Jelinek, who had one catch for 12. Levine had 2 catches for 6 yards. And Austin Ziltner had 1 for 4 yards. Leighton Barasenkov had 2 for 9. They look like they're going to kick off all over again.
They are so.
Yeah, it was a. What did I miss? Was there a?
Not sure what happened, but we'll wait for the referee's signal here from.
It looks like it might have been an offside, maybe.
Had to be.
So the receiving on the south, was. Peyton Price, 1 for 18. David Bowers, 2 for 12. And Nick Pollitt, 1 for 3. So not lighting it up. Pass attempts from the north, 7 for 16. And the south was 4 for 12.
All right, Nelson gets a low driving kick down to the 15-yard line. Finally picked up there by Barasenkov. Barasenkov looks to the middle and is taken down just short of the 30-yard line, so they'll lose about 5 yards on the previous run back, but they've still got pretty good field position right at the 30.
Jonathan Erickson was 13 attempts, 6 completions for 95 yards. Brandon Reese was 3 attempts for 1 completion for 4 yards. And John Evans was 3 for 8, and Kai Sampson was 1 for 4.
All right, 3 flankers to this side. Back in the pocket. That is a fake and straight up the middle. Good job there by Brandon Reese. He's in there at quarterback. He actually drew a couple of potential tacklers to him after he gave the ball to the running back. Lone setback being number 7, Atlas Blanchette Van Oplu, out of East Glen High School. Reese will take off with it once again. And a gain of about 5 yards on the play. Not sure if that was a mix-up in the backfield or not, Blake.
Oh, and take a look at he's hurt. He's hurt. No, that was a pre-designed quarterback draw.
You think?
He's hurt his knee, I think. Yeah, he went down kind of awkward on the tackle. If we see a replay on that play, you'll see that he sort of does like a fake, like he's going to throw the ball, and then just a straight run. They leave the defensive end over on this side uncovered. Yes, he's got twisted up here in his left knee. But he lifts the ball to draw a fake, hoping to draw the defensive end upfield, and number 50 hangs in there and doesn't get beat on the play.
So a little additional pressure put on Kai Sampson. He's going to have to come in.
Oh, no.
Not Kai Sampson, but at the other end, Jonathan Erickson.
Yeah.
Back on the field.
Hey, they might be able to use Kai Sampson. I don't know if that's ever happened. Like, what would happen in a All-Star game if you ran
out of quarterbacks?
If you ran out of quarterbacks, you'd have to have somebody else step into play. Somebody that's played that maybe if you get 2 guys getting injured, because it's happened before where I've seen that. My son's year, there was a quarterback from Calgary. Was I want to say it's Jason Borisenko or something like that. Was the quarterback for Calgary, and they had another really good one on the South team, but he got hurt early in the game, like in early part of the second quarter. So this Barreco, that's the name of the kid, but he ended up going the whole game, and then he ended up being one of the quarterbacks for Team Alberta because the other guy was injured and the guy couldn't play. And if you lose a quarterback, that's tough, because you were saying that the South had 3 quarterbacks, but they already lost one of them, so now they're down to 2.
to an injury.
Yeah.
I believe you talked earlier about there being other sports going on at this time of the year other than football, which is rather unusual. But rugby is one of them, and one of their players got hurt playing rugby.
Yeah. Was that the Wascona, the Lyman Shin? Is that the one?
No, one of the southern players.
Southern players.
Yeah, I believe it was Tyson Pitcher. I could be mistaken. James Thompson Dick out of Harry Ainley and Trevor Morris out of Harry Ainley as well. Both were slated to play in this one, but are not dressed for it. And Trevor Morris, the son of Chris Morris.
Yep.
The Golden Bears head coach. There's the snap, and another pretty good kick down to about the 45-yard line. Bounces to the 40. Taken there again by Mikhail Mujalski, and Mujalski is stopped just shy of the center field stripe, and it'll be first down for the South.
And a real nice tackle by Scott Baraziak, I guess is how you pronounce his name. Scott Baraziak, open field, gets a leg, brings him down after a decent return.
One thing about it being in an all-star game, there's not a whole lot of what you'd call flow to the game. It's kind of fits and starts. Of course, the players really not that familiar with each other, and that probably is part of it. There's the fake, and rolling out to this side and taking off with the football again is John Evans.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. That's where he lives. That zone read outside, read that end. And the thing about him is it looks like he's got such good speed that even if like 92 settles down, does a really nice job of reading that thing, but that's just enough. Reese Winder settles down in there, sees the quarterback, and the quarterback still outruns him.
6'4", but only 180 pounds. And you think, well, if this guy ever gets hammered around the knees, it's going to hurt a whole bunch.
Yeah.
You know, he's not exactly the...
I got news for you. If any of us gets hammered around the knees, it's going to hurt a lot. It doesn't matter if you're 6'4", 185. We're all going to be sore.
Evans at quarterback. The setback is Tyler Santos. There's the shovel pass to Santos, and they read that one all the way. And in there to make the tackle was Trey Irwin from Skonecomp.
Yeah, that they've run that play now. I think that's the third or fourth time that they've run that play, and they read it really well. Trey Irwin was coming downhill in a hurry.
Jaden Williams coming off the field, along with Trey Irwin.
I believe it's pronounced Jadon.
Jadon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking that's what way it's pronounced.
All right, Seth Nelson to do the punting. Low snap, picks it up, gets it away, and over, and picked up at the 20. On the run.
That's Withrow. There he goes.
Jake Withrow over the 50-yard line to about the 53, and a run back of, I'm going to say, close to about 40 yards on the play.
Yeah, about 37 yards, I think, is what that was. That's it. And again, you know, Withrow, the one that from the north made the big play, getting speed and running through guys on the touchdown in the first half, does another great job of it. And he had a nice return on the opening kickoff there, the first kickoff of the game. That was they had to re-kick, and then they had to lose him 5 yards. But it's a good return, man, and he's a good football player.
Sampson back in at quarterback. Handoff right side. Plowing ahead is Parker Cullum. And he'll pick up close to about 5 yards on the play. Cullum, the lone representative from Fort Saskatchewan High School, 58 carries, 481 yards, 2 catches for 25 yards and 5 touchdowns. Pretty good numbers in anybody's book.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the pocket, and now Rush getting out of it and getting the pass away, and still running with it is number 88, Nathan Levine, and finally knocked out of bounds, and that was just sheer effort on the part of Nathan Levine.
It certainly was because he was hit and had his ankle held about 4 yards short of the first down marker. The defensive ends here for the South are really giving the tackles some trouble right now, and that's, again, I talked about this before, that's 52, that's Logan Dobko. I'm not sure who the other one is, but boy, those guys, number 54 for the South is Niles Haney, doing a fantastic job, and he's down right now. He's I hope he's not. Looks like he's got a cramp or something, so it's nothing serious. But those two defensive ends are given all kinds of trouble. Daniel Cuomo Kepso and Niles Heaney. Number 55 as well. They get for the South. That's Jonathan Dorkich, defensive lineman, 6'3", 240 pounds. Real good quickness. They brought in just now Martin Levkoski, number 99, is in. And then Kwando Bohen is another. Their defensive front is just formidable right now.
All right, three flankers to this side. There's the handoff up the middle once again.
Yeah.
And it's red all the way. Parker Cullum stopped right at the line of scrimmage.
And that's Bohen, Kwando Bohen. Let me see if I'm saying this right. Quadwo Bohen.
Like I said, you get all the good ones.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm saying them right.
Loss of 2. It'll be 2nd and 12. Ball right on the 45-yard line. Three flankers to the far side. Rolling that way, looking into the middle, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Austin Ziltner out of Leduc Composite High School. And the Huskies signee is unable to hold on.
I think that's the second or third one that it's hit him in the hands and he's dropped today. He's not happy with himself as he's coming off the field. That was a well-thrown ball. Not sure that was a great ball to throw because you needed 10 yards, and that thing was only going to give you about 3 or 4 yards. But still, you count on your receiver to be able to make the catch and then get some yards after the catch. And Ziltner just that's a couple that he's put on the carpet today.
Kinga gets it away again. It's an end-over-end kick, and on the run, the ball is loose and recovered at the 20-yard line. And Mikhail Mujalski just able to pounce on that one. But again, there's that. They're standing back further than they need to and taking a run at the football.
Well, yeah, it's funny if you're looking at those flags there, and then look at the ones right under. There's no wind at your back, and it's tough to read. And if the returners are looking at those flags to try to get some kind of a feel off of it, it's not helping them.
All right, so they mark the ball at the 20-yard line. And the South taking over at that point with Kai Sampson in at quarterback. Sampson back in the pocket now, takes off with it up to the 25, still going, and is tackled at about the 27-yard line. Had all kinds of room to run up the middle.
Yeah, well, I think that was closed off. We'll see this in the replay because this replay camera comes right from the end zone here, and as he does a nice job, he sees it will really open up. There's really no place to go because 34 was right there, to take away that middle, and it forced him to run to the sidelines. He got towards the sidelines, got 8 yards, but 34 did a nice job of closing it off.
Middle linebacker Chopper Hippie.
Oh, picked. Oh.
And Chopper Hippie out of Holy Rosary in Lloydminster. He is the brother of Colton Hippie.
Yeah, I thought that was Colton Hippie's brother.
Colton, of course, graduated from the Huskies this past season.
Didn't see who got a chance to get a hand on that thing. I think somebody did. No, I just think came out of his hand wrong. But number 35 for the North, 35. That's Evan Aldrich. Almost stepped in and made that play.
Third down and about 2.5.
I think Evan Aldridge is the only guy from Lindsay Thurber, too, as well in this game. Oh, there's a good-looking kick.
Great spiraling kick down to the 40-yard line taken by Barasenkoff. Barasenkoff tries to dipsy-doodle around one player and is tackled. And a nice job downfield by Peyton Price.
You could tell that was going to be a good kick just by his drop. The punter, a lot of times, especially if it's breezy, the ball gets dropped in odd ways. This was nice and comfortable, and the ball came down nice and flat on his foot, so he could get good contact with it on the arch of his foot and deliver a really nice punt.
Ball on the 44-yard line, 7:05 to go in the third quarter. The South leading the North by a score of 24-9. Back in the pocket, into the middle, pass incomplete. In and out of the hands of Nathan Levine, and I tell you, I think if he catches that one and keeps going, he's gone.
He's got a good chance of going, yes, for sure. That's
I mean, he split the seam on that one just beautifully.
I feel bad for Erickson today because he has probably had a half a dozen balls dropped, and those are balls that are hitting guys right in the hands. And this could be a completely different game. If they catch half of those balls.
Barasenkov split to this side, 3 flankers on this side of the field, and all the way downfield. It is complete! At the 35-yard line, and stretching for that one is Silas Jelinek out of St. Joe's High School in Grand Prairie.
That was a fantastic catch there. And Silas is another one of those guys who's dropped the ball today, but made a really nice catch. It was called, it had a legal block down right in front of us earlier in the game. But nice job of extending, going for this ball. He's in behind and catches it all with the fingertips and excellent job of moving the offense down to the 30-yard line within scoring distance.
Chris Morris has to like that. He is assigned by the Bears for this upcoming season. There's the handoff left side and just banged around in the middle with a little bit of punching going on by number 52 for the South, Hudson Megapinto, but a great run by Atlas Blanchette Van Oplu.
Okay, got a flag down here. Was it called from deep into the deep by the deep ref? We'll see what he calls here. A rough play, against the South.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they were punching at the ball or.
Didn't look like it, but.
Yeah, 52 was punching at the ball on that,
okay.
but the flag was thrown long before that, so it must have been a shot to the head. It was well before the end of the play.
So this one will go in favor of the North, and they are all the way down to the 15-yard line with 6:07 to go in the third quarter and trailing 24-9. How big is this drive? Ball at the 9. So it'll be 1st and goal for the North. Rolling to his right, Erickson looks into the end zone, puts one up, and it is incomplete. Caught out of bounds by number 11, Jake Withrow.
Yeah, Erickson's got to deliver that one just a little quicker. He's a little slow getting it there, but yeah, I was going to make that comment. Why aren't they throwing the ball more to Withrow? You know, this he hasn't had an opportunity to drop a ball. He has made plays when he's got it in his hands, and I think they've got to find ways to get him the ball.
Second goal, ball on the 9. 5:44 left in the third quarter. Single setback is Blanchette Van Oplu. Now in the pocket, looking into the end zone, and the receiver actually stumbled as he crossed the goal line, and that was number 28, Austin Ziltner. He couldn't catch up to that one.
I want to take a look at that again because it looked like number 32 was getting a really strong jam on him. That's number 32. Let me see here. Can we see it?
Seth Nelson?
Yeah, Seth Nelson. I was sorry. I was trying to see the jam, but the camera didn't have a great clip of it.
All right, ball.
They're going to go for it.
3rd and goal from the 9. Again, Van Oplu, the lone setback, back in the pocket, into the end zone, over the head of number 11, Jake Withrow. He couldn't pull that one down.
He had him on a crossing road again. He had him. It was wide open. They cleared with the 2 receivers on the near side, and they went trips to the right-hand side and 2 receivers to the short side, and they ran the slot off deep, and that cleared out the drag, and Erickson just threw it high.
Well, they had a chance to lessen the score, lessen the difference, and unfortunately couldn't come up with a touchdown, so it'll be 1st down for the South, and the ball is at their own 9-yard line. Time running down here in the third quarter, 5 minutes to go. At quarterback is John Evans. Evans hands it off, up the middle, big hole to the 25-yard line, almost to the 30. Number 33, David Bowers from Holy Trinity.
You know, I'm not see where they're marking this thing? They're marking it at the 26-yard line. Look at the replay here. When they pull Bowers down, he lands on top of the guy, and his butt never touches the ground. They've chain whipped him 4 yards on that play. Just his knee never touches the ground until he gets up to the 30-yard line.
26-yard line is where the ball is. It'll be 1st down
I hope he's not 4 yards short of an all-time rushing
There's
record.
the snap. It's over the head of John Evans, and he is tackled on a nice move by number 62 for the North, and that is Cole Caulfield out of Skona Comp, and he's a sack master. He had 3 of them during the regular season. Now he's got 1 in the All-Star
Yeah,
game.
you know, that's when those are the kinds that you like because you don't have to touch anybody. That wasn't anything about what Cole did, but more about what the offense did. That was a poor snap, and I thought Evans did a fantastic job of just getting the ball back. But nice job of Cole cleaning it up because Evans almost got away.
John Evans at quarterback. The lone setback is David Bowers rolling to the outside. This is Evans. Throws it along the sidelines. It is almost picked off. In and out of the hands again of number 22, Maurice Dubois. And I'm not sure if he was interfered with by the receiver, but...
No, we'll watch this. Maurice Dubois was 5 yards away from the receiver. he ran the route better than the receiver ran it.
He was well in behind him, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. He just... he had hands of a defensive back right there. That's what as my son would say. That should have been an interception for him. That's another missed opportunity by the North to take the ball away.
All right, so the South will kick this one away, and there is absolutely no wind out there now. High, down to the center field stripe, taken there by number 11, Withrow, and Withrow is stopped just over the 40-yard line at about the 38, so it'll be good field position for the North.
Yeah, you know, when you look at what if the North takes a field goal in that last one, okay, you can second guess. Boy, Withrow was so close to busting that one right there too. Nice block on the edge, and then turn it up inside to get that one more guy just for half a second. He's going to the house. But yeah, if they take that field goal, now they're in the scoring opportunity again. You could chip away at this lead.
Into the middle, and
again.
it is tipped.
Number 99 from the South got a paw on that one. That's Martin Lipkovsky.
Lipkovsky out of Henry Wisewood. You know, I recall back, you know, the last time we did this game, which was 2 or 3 years ago, the number of players from Notre Dame in Calgary was overwhelming.
Yeah. That's because Notre Dame was the best team in the province at that point.
And slowly, teams like Henry Wisewood, with 5 players in this game, they're slowly taking that away from Notre Dame. And this is going to be another quarterback sack as the big guy, number 99, Martin Lipkovsky, in there to make the tackle along with 65, Daniel Stefanik.
Well, that's Ryan Selski and Logan Dopko just cannot handle the edge. They can't handle the edge guys. That's where the pressure's coming from. And part of that is because their defensive line is structured for the South. They've got such great push in the inside that they can't get any help to the outside, so the tackles are left on an island. And because of the style of quarterback, he's a straight drop back kind of a guy. He's just a sitting target, and the tackles cannot keep those ends away from the quarterback.
All right, this one will bounce out of bounds at around the 26-yard line. And so the South, again, in their own zone.
That's why I was saying, you know, with the type of rush that they're getting, with the big push-up field, why they're not screening that thing now? Why don't you just, you know, they bring in so much pressure that just leak a running back out into the underneath and throw a screen pass on them, take some of that rush out of there or off the table.
Well, talking with at least Bryson anyway, saying that they really didn't have the time that they wanted to set up packages that included the screen and that kind of thing over 6 practices.
Yeah, I'm thinking that if I'm setting up something, I'm going to make sure I'm going to have a deep pass. I'm going to have some short pass.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a screen. I'm going to have a draw. Because and that's just the basics. That's like okay, I got a navy blue suit. I better have a white shirt, and I better have some brown shoes and a brown belt. And, I mean, those are accessories, and those are accessories that are just have-to-haves. And a screen is something that they have to have.
Well, that one all the way down to Nick Pollitt, but they couldn't connect on that one. That was basically the same play that went for the long gain earlier in the quarter. Back in the pocket again. Evans looks downfield, now takes off with it.
Look at that.
He's at the 40, to the 50. He's going to go to the 40, all the way for the touchdown. John Evans out of LCI. Now you see why he had 800 yards rushing this past season.
Yeah, he's got over 100 now, I think, just in that play alone. That puts him at 55, 65, 75, 80 yards on that play. And I think he had coming into this quarter, he had 30 yards. So he's over 100 yards on the day. And he's only run the ball about 4 times.
I was going to say, as he took off from the football, and he is so quick to turn to turn it downfield.
Yeah.
Maybe too quick sometimes.
Yeah, he runs. He runs with a violence. So, he's, like I said, he's up to speed, full speed in about 3 steps. And, I'm not sure where he's going, if he's committed to anybody, if he's going to play for anybody after high school. But just by looking at him, he looks to me like somebody, I'm not sure his arm strength is really super strong. He can throw the ball. We saw him throw the deep ball that should have possibly been caught. But his athleticism, his ability to be able to run. So if he couldn't be on the field as a quarterback, he could quite possibly be on the field as a wide receiver or a slot back or something like that, because his speed is as good as anybody else in this game. And he's so tall and rangy.
One thing on that run, the other thing about him is he's always aware of his surroundings and what's going on around him. I mean, he made a couple of great moves just at the last minute.
Yeah, we're seeing it again. He breaks one tackle right there, and then he just gets outside. And once he's in stride, he looks like a sprinter. Yeah, he's he can certainly move. He looks like a high level sprinter.
All right. So with 47 seconds to go in the third quarter, it's a 31-9 football game in favor of the South. High end over end down to about the 15-yard line. It'll be taken again by Jake Withrow. Withrow tries to find some room up the middle and then is finally taken down just shy of the 40-yard line. Jake Withrow's had himself a busy afternoon here in the Senior Bowl.
Well, he's certainly given the North an opportunity to have decent field position when he touches the ball. Obviously, the one touchdown, but he's got a couple of returns that have been very, very good, and he knows how to read his blockers. He's got good patience, but then the one thing he's got is he's got excellent speed. So if he sees that hole, he can get through that hole.
All right, we've got trips to this side. Motion goes left. A handoff, and again, it is Parker Cullen, but he is going nowhere.
Yeah, that defensive line is not given the North offensive line any breaks. When we said this before, they're a smaller offensive line than what the South has, but the defensive linemen are just a combination of size and quickness. They're giving the North all they can handle.
A loss of 4 on that run back.
Now you know it's going to be pass.
Yeah. Back in the pocket again. And looking into the middle, it is cut at
Guess
center
who?
field. Does he have the speed? Yes, he does. All the way for the touchdown, Jake Withrow.
I said this a couple minutes ago. Why aren't they throwing the ball to this guy every time? Geez. That's just a great pass by Erickson, but Withrow is he's a phenomenal player and makes a nice, he runs a nice pattern, like a very, very deep drag. He's coming from the right side of the field and quads to the short side, and he drags him all the way across and right in front of the safety. Safety doesn't do a great job of stepping up and making that play. He had an opportunity to make the play, but Withrow catches the ball and, again, sort of runs through a guy into the end zone.
Point after from Kuhn Klinge. St. Albert native looking around for
a holder.
For a holder. They need a holder.
Take a timeout, man.
Out there is John Evans. Make that Jonathan Erickson. And I'll tell you what, he puts it through.
Yeah.
After all that confusion and
got
a
a
bad
flag
snap.
down here. Yeah, yeah. Erickson was celebrating his touchdown pass.
All right, we have a flag, so let's see what the call is. Withrow, and I couldn't find anything as to who he's committed to, if anybody.
Yeah.
Definitely not the Bears. Definitely not the Dinos. So he may be committed to either the Huskies or the Wildcats. And I'll tell you what, they would be well advised to keep an eye on this guy. He can do it all. He can catch. He can run. He can kick. 7 out of 14 field goals this past season. 479, a 40-yard punting average. And punt returns, 26 of them for 244 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, he can do it all.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had 2 players on Bev Facey last year that were that made everybody aware of them. One of them was Ty Smith, of course, their middle linebacker Lugo, but he was from a defensive standpoint. But Jake Withrow, offensively, those 2 guys, Ty Smith, would catch touchdowns and picked off a touchdown when we played them this year. Picked off a pass for a touchdown late in the game, and Withrow was just he could beat you so many different ways. So you had to be aware of them. They weren't as strong this last year as they were in previous years, but they certainly had some outstanding players. You can tell because I think they got the most players in this. In this game, I think they have 5 or 6 players. They're tied with Henry Wisewood, or might be more than Henry Wisewood.
There's a point after, and it is casually kicked through the uprights by Kuhn Klinge.
We didn't talk about this before, but they had an illegal substitution and they had an offside, so they were offsetting, so they decided to kick it over again. That's why they did it.
I continue to be more impressed every time I see him out there. Is this Kuhn Klinge? I mean, he was just so casual out there with that point after. Gave it kind of like a soccer kick and had no trouble putting it through the uprights. And he's done well from the punting aspect.
Well, he really does. He does have.
I know you don't like to talk about kickers.
No, but I mean, it's a part of the game. But he does have a very live leg. I'm running into that. You run into that all the time, where you see athletes and you go, why weren't you doing this earlier?
Mm-hmm.
And it could be because of a number of reasons, especially if he's from the Netherlands and not from around here. Then the familiarity with the game, or all that you see or hear about the game, is negative. So maybe that's why he didn't play. But you can just imagine when you see somebody like this, how many other players, athletes have missed opportunities in other sports when they could have excelled because they never had an opportunity or never were, had the guts to try it. Well, he's tried it, and don't get me wrong. I mean, he's got a long ways to go, but he certainly has a live leg, and he's if he can figure out the mechanics of the punting, then this could certainly be somebody to watch.
Well, as I mentioned, he probably plays, or obviously played a lot of soccer in the Netherlands, where he's from. And soccer has had a big influence on this football game, or on the game of football in its
short kick.
In its entirety. There's a little pooch. It is almost picked off, but a good job of holding it down is Nick Pollitt.
And that was a really nice short kick. I mean, so often you see a short kick. First of all, what you want to try to do is get up a little bit higher to allow your guys to get underneath it. So he could have probably been just a tad higher. But sometimes when you do a pooch kick, they don't go. It doesn't go far enough. You don't get 10 yards, or they kick it so far that they kick it right out of bounds. And that was actually a pretty good kick. They just didn't get enough guys there early enough. But I think they're going to call. It looks like they're going to call a rough play on the North. So not only do they give up a short kick, but now they're going to add 15 yards to that thing. So that might be difficult. Looking at the stats here for the end of the third quarter, the total offense for the North, 188 yards, 284 yards for the South. The yards passing for the North, 218 yards. This is 218 yards to 110. And we talked about this prolific passing in the South. The South has only got 110 yards passing, and the North have been 218 total net yards, 265 for the North and 299 yards for the South. There's 77 yards in losses by the North, so that brings them down to a total offense of 188 yards to 284.
So,
but it's been a lot closer than the stats will say.
So there was a roughing call out there, and good for another 15 yards. They moved the ball at the 40-yard line, and on first down, the handoff to the right side taken by number 33, David Bowers, and he'll pick up a gain of a couple yards on the play.
Net yards rushing, and this was aided by the Evans' big long run. 189 yards rushing. He had 80 of them on that play and 30 before, so he's got, of the 189 yards, he's got 110 of them. And the net yards rushing for the South is 47.
So John Evans, the LCI Rams. Motion goes to the right, back in the pocket, looks downfield and takes off with it right away. Look at him run to the 20, gets around one man to the 5 and is knocked out of bounds. But we have a
late flag here.
A late flag all the way
back. We got a holding back there probably in the backfield. Then we got a late flag right around the tackle. By the 5-yard line, there was a late flag. One of the things that we're going to put in here is I mentioned is that Jake Withrow now head and shoulders above everybody else in receiving yards. See if we can see the holding penalty here. I don't know where they call it, but they threw a flag right there. It was back behind the play. They got a rough play right here. Oh, yeah, hitting him way out of bounds.
Yeah.
Number 24.
The second man in.
Yeah, number 24 for the North. That would be Trey Irwin gets the roughing penalty, but there's a holding penalty way back, and
well, it's going to be a net gain
of 5 yards for the South.
5 yards for the South. So they're second and now they move the field markers down, so it'll be 2nd and 10.
They're going to call him first down here.
First down, 1st and 10.
Yeah, because the roughing is an automatic. Yeah. So we got Jake Withrow with 142 yards catching on 2 catches.
Ball on the 34-yard line. 1st and 10 for the South. 13:58 to go in the 4th quarter. Motion goes to the right. A little bit of a mix-up in the backfield, and the quarterback, Kai Sampson, takes off with it, and he'll pick up about maybe 5 yards on the play. Not sure if that was intended as a pitch out to David Bowers or not.
Well, it looked like he looked that way. You can see he looked that way and then realized there was no option, so he better get running.
So a gain of about 5. It'll be 2nd and 5. Ball just over the 30-yard line.
John Evans sitting at 122 yards and rushing to this point. Plus, he just had that really big long one that was called back. So, I mean, there's an opportunity that he might. There's only 1 quarter left, but he breaks one more. He's going to hit the 200-yard mark.
Kai Sampson is the quarterback. Pass incomplete, and wisely pounced back up upon by number 33, David Bowers. But it was a forward pass, so it'll be 3rd. And again, the North defense will hold.
Now I know these are just high school kids, but I'm a little disappointed today, and I'm sure that the athletes will feel the same way. I'm a little disappointed that there's as many balls hit the turf. With the amount of players that have come from prolific passing teams, and these are good receivers. These are receivers that are going to go on to play in university and everything else, and there has been, I bet you we're approaching close to double digits for the amount of drop balls today. And balls that were catchable. I'm not talking about the circus variety of type. It was just balls that hit guys in the chest, and they should have had them.
37-yard field goal attempt.
Because you look at Kai Sampson, his numbers 7 for 25. But he easily should be closer to 50% of the completions. But I guess, when we were looking at this, the stats from what he collected over the course of the year, if this is correct, it says he's completed 76 passes out of 276. So how many of them were dropped, right? So, he's like at a third. He's almost at a quarter. 25% he's throwing at.
Also threw eight interceptions as well.
Yeah. but he's delivered the ball pretty well today. He just haven't had the help. And the same can be said with for Erickson on the north. Now he's going to get a heck of a lot more opportunities because he's got to go the rest of the way on his own. But he's sitting at completion. He's only completed 9 out of 22.
Yeah.
And he's had at least a half a dozen that were dropped.
All right. Once again, they'll try the field goal, this time from about the 37-yard line. So good snap. Ball is up. It's got the length, but it's going to go wide. And carrying it out of the end zone is Barasenkov. Barasenkov reverses his field and is taken down at about the 5-yard line.
Well, it is a missed field goal. It gets him to the 20-yard line anyways. So it's automatic to the 20-yard line. Good job by the defense of Holden, not giving up any points. Excellent job.
All right, a little more trivia for you. Ready?
Yeah.
What Alberta high school did Brian Fryer, the first Canadian-trained football... Okay, 1 out of 2 ain't bad.
And I had Medicine Hat, too. I should have said it. That's what I was thinking, Medicine Hat.
Okay, at quarterback is John Erickson. Erickson hands it off. Some room on the far side for Parker Cullum, and he plows ahead for a gain of close to 5 yards anyway. Looked like he had a little bit more room than that on the far side
initially
of the field.
it started, but the defense did a nice job of shutting down lanes and just forcing him to go to the sideline stretching. But a gain of 5 yards on first down and a run, not bad. That's the next trivia one.
What's the most popular name for high school football teams in Alberta? Bulldogs, Warriors, Rams, Cougars.
I was going to say Rams.
Yeah, you'd be right.
We're looking at 2 teams out here now with Rams helmets on, one north, one south.
LCI.
Yeah. And Lloydminster.
Lloydminster. Right.
And I believe Stettler's a Ram too. They got the same. Or Lacombe, I believe, is the Lacombe has Rams. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
St. Francis Xavier here in Edmonton. They're the Rams.
5 teams named Ram. The rest are 4 each.
We just named 3 of them, or 4 of them there. We're missing one.
All right, Klinga will again punt this one away from about his own 19-yard line. Gets a good kick and a good bounce as well. Handled nicely by Mikhail Mujalski, but he'll go nowhere. And he'll be tackled just over the 35-yard line.
You know,
injured
number 5 is a little bit injured there. It's a nice kick. Number 5 for the North. Musgrave, yeah. You know what I thought was an excellent job here was the guys managing that 5-yard window. When that ball is bouncing around like that, they did an excellent job. That cover team did an excellent job of not taking a penalty and giving them an extra a cheap 5. So decent kick, starting at the 39-yard line roughly, and the south is. And now they got to deal with John Evans running.
15-point deficit for the North as they try and stop the South offense. The handoff to the right side. David Bowers will pick up about 5 yards on the play. They'll mark it down at around the 45-yard line. So they continue to keep the ball on the ground, and whatever is working for them, and obviously it's working well for the South. Evans fakes the handoff, takes off with it himself. And he's at the 40.
He's going to score again.
To the 30, to the 20, and he's knocked out of bounds at about the 10-yard line. That's a designed play. I mean, he's done that, 3 times? 4 times?
Yeah, and here's the thing. This is what that athlete does. He's making the zone read off the defensive end. The defensive end does a nice job. He settles down, he sees him, and he still beats him. And like he breaks his ankles right there. The defensive end does what he needs to do, other than he should close a little bit more and not give John Evans as much room to be able to make a move and to be into space. But But he did what the coaches asked him to do, and Evans still beats him.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's just special.
That's just John Evans all the way. Like you say, the defensive end did his job. Evans did his better, and there's the handoff up the middle again.
See, now because of what he's able to do to those defensive ends, now they're so apprehensive about coming upfield, and so now that opens that up for the inside run. And that's they give David Bowers an opportunity now because the ends have to play so wide that that takes himself out of the game. But that's a very, very lethal weapon they got there at number 5.
Into the game for the South is Dakota McKay from the far side. There's trips on that side. There's the fake. Running off with it now is Evans. And he'll just walk into the end zone. I mean, there was nobody around. I don't think they even knew he had the football.
No,
until he crossed the goal line.
I think the defensive back knew it. He just knew that I'm not going to get there in time. And the defensive end, again, Evans saw that is not the way you're supposed to read this thing, but because of his athletic ability, that gives you an extra an advantage, because you're supposed to hand the ball off when you see the defensive end staring you in the eye. I'm not going to beat this guy, but Evans can beat the guy. Doesn't matter who they've got playing there. They just got this huge. Here we go. Huge mismatch. He just fakes, beats him, and everybody knows that he had the ball by that point.
Just a great fake too.
Yeah. Well, he just sort of pulls up for a second and pretends he's going to throw it, and then he just uses speed to scoot around him.
Point after, and it is good. And with 9 minutes and 2 seconds to go, it is a 38-16 football game.
Well, we talked about
22-point lead.
Yeah, we talked about this beforehand, that there hasn't been too often where it's been a blowout, and this is about as close to a blowout as we've seen in the last 10 years. Maybe it's time they give the ball to Withrow again. What do you think?
We'll find out here in about 2 or 3 minutes, I would imagine. 9:02 left. The 29th Annual Senior Bowl here in Edmonton. Over the years, the South has won 15, the North has won 12 of them, and one of them ended up in a tie in 2001.
Yeah.
14-14 tie. Do we have time for some trivia?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This is a tough one. Which school won the first ever Tier 4 championship in 1999? Give you a choice.
Hang on a second. First ever?
First ever Tier 4 championship.
And it was only in 1999?
That's the first year that they ran it.
Wow. Because I thought Ardrossan was winning those things back in the maybe I'll say Ardrossan.
Okay. Cochrane has 8 Tier 3. LCI has 6 Tier 1. Cardston has 5 Tier 2. And Ardrossan has 4 Tier 4, including the first one.
So they won the first one, yeah. Oh, I know Cochrane. But Cochrane's one of those schools that plays at Tier 4 or have played Tier 4, but they also play Tier 3. They've moved up in Tier 3, and they just continue to excel. I remember they had a kid named Nate Cote, and his brother, Cote, was a fullback for the Calgary Stampeders, just retired this year. They're from Cochrane High School, and Nate Cote was the quarterback, and his brother was a fullback with the Stampeders, but he was a receiver. Nate Cote that one year had 47 touchdown passes. 47 touchdown passes. I was going, what are they keeping track of his passes he throws in practice? How do you get 47? But then he went on to play for the Vancouver Victoria Redmond, I believe it is, in the BC Junior League, and he threw 6 touchdown passes in one game. I think it's a CGFL record.
Pass on the sidelines. It is incomplete behind the receiver. Number 82, Matt Darnell from Lacombe Composite High School.
No, maybe it was more than 6. Maybe he threw like 7, or it was ridiculous how many touchdown passes he threw in BC Junior. And that was only, probably 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was.
All right, it is 2nd and 10. Ball on the 29-yard line. Still at quarterback, Jonathan Erickson. Of course, the other quarterback, Brandon Rees, is injured, and we have an injured North player. He's going to get up under his own steam, but I think he had the wind knocked out of him. Big number 80, Benjamin Filipenko from St. Francis Xavier. Ooh, he got hit. Right there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And there is a flag on the play. Looks like this one will go against the South. It is
Pass interference. Yep.
pass interference.
Oh, now they got an unsportsmanlike to go with it, so they're going to get some. Somebody's chirping.
I know it's only an all-star game, but I'll tell you what, the feelings are still pretty high out there.
64. It's either 64 or 92 got the penalty for the extracurricular.
Yeah. 64 going off the field is Dorian Zadema. Just looking around the bench for Brandon Rees, but I don't think he's out there.
Yeah.
Left knee injury.
That's too bad. Because I know that talking with the junior teams here in Edmonton, they both liked him as a quarterback, and I'm not sure he was going to any other school. He wasn't going to the Calgary or to University of Alberta, so there was an opportunity for him to be able to play, and I hope it's not something serious, and I hope he's going to be okay.
4 receivers, this side pass complete.
There we go.
At center field. It is taken by Silas Jelinek.
Yeah, and he's had himself a really nice game as well. Silas Jelinek, even at the third quarter, had I think he had 2 catches for 48 yards, and now I think he's had 2 since that time.
Mm-hmm. 38-16 the score, 8:05 to go. I mean, don't count the North out quite yet. It's a long road to hoe, but there's another one into the middle, and it is complete just over center field.
He's going to be really close to a first down. They might be short a ball length.
Nathan Levine.
Yeah, they're going to be real short. Oh, they're going to give it to him. Okay.
Levine, the Hunting Hills grad, 385 yards and catches this past season, including 7 touchdowns, tops in his league.
And Levine had 15 yards coming in, but he had that really big, long reception in the third quarter, so he's going to be up over 50 yards, I think, here.
Back in the pocket, being hurried, looking downfield into the middle. It is just short and intended for number 80, Benjamin Filipenko. He was open, but the pass was just a little short.
Yeah, Erickson does a nice job here of Oyasoro coming free, and he does a little bit of John Evans on him. He kind of just gives him a little bit of fake and steps outside, and Oyasoro's tackling there.
Ball now on the 53-yard line. It is 2nd and 10 for the North. Now, Erickson tried to fake, but the defensive line wasn't going for it. Big number 57 in there, Subomi Oyasoro.
Yeah, Oyasoro, but again, it's the same. It's that same cast of characters, number 54 as well. I said his name a lot.
Nils Haney.
Nils Haney, and they just are putting so much pressure. And what they're doing is they're occupying 2 blockers. Number 55 on the right defensive end has had an outstanding game as well. Jonathan Dorocic, good Croatian name.
Again, back in the pocket and now taking off with it.
Fumble.
There's a fumble, and the ball bouncing around. It is going to be picked up by the South. I'm not sure if it was 95 or.
Yeah, it was 95.
95
got the ball. It was stripped as Erickson was trying to step up. Here you see 54. I think is when he strips him. Yeah, 54 strips him, and then they just recovered it.
Quadwo Bowahen.
Yeah, Nils Haney again. Just causes the fumble. Just gets a piece of his shoulder pad as Erickson's running by and pulls the ball out. But just so much pressure these guys have just applied on that offense of the North.
Sampson hands it off left side. Tyler Santos, gain of close to 5 yards on the play. They'll mark it down at around the 45-yard line.
Oh, no, Mrs. Price is going to be upset. That's Peyton Price who had that carry.
Okay.
Yeah, Santos has had a lot of work today.
Yeah.
Peyton Price, nice run, but almost 6 yards. I guess it's just 5. My math is off.
All right, they send 3 receivers over to the far side once again, and there's a fumble in the backfield, but Sampson pounces on it, and it'll be 3rd and probably about 8 yards to go. So again, the North defense holds thanks to a mix-up in the backfield.
Well, that's the second time that's happened today with the and I'm wondering if I can't remember who it happened with first, if it was Santos, but it was with the same quarterback. He's trying to ride the running back, so as he puts the ball in there and lets him go, he was going to have the option to pull it out, and Sampson twice now has had the ball in there long enough that the running back just grips it too tight and causes a fumble. And the first one he wasn't fumbled, but it was on his back.
All kinds of flags in the backfield. There's a catch on the run, and taken by Barasenko, and he will ground it.
Might be too many men.
Both flags flying at the same time, so we'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
Could be offside.
No. The 2 hands on the head, and I'm not sure if that is. It's against the South, but I'm wondering if they had too many men. Has anybody left? We're counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 guys on the field right now.
So they'll move the ball down into South territory. And again, a break for the North with 4:49 to go.
Yeah, one guy's jogging off, 45's jogging off, and so they had too many men. That is a big break for the North.
Yeah. They'll have to kick it off now from about, or punt it off rather, from about the 42-yard line. Receivers standing at about their own 20. On the far side.
Bad snap.
And again, they get it away this time, but
no yards.
Nelson has had a couple of bad snaps, but he gets that one away, and another flag. So there's 2 flags down on the play.
And 88s came really late too, so that was after the fact. I'm not sure if it was a hold on the North. It looks like he's looking for a green. So one was no yards, one might have been hold, so it might be offsetting here.
So 4:26 to go, and they offset the penalties, and they'll mark the ball at about the 40-yard line, and good field position again for the North. Thing is, they've had good field position on a number of occasions. They just haven't been able to capitalize.
Now they're going to lose 5 yards because the holding penalty is a 10-yard penalty, and the no yards was of the 5-yard variety. And the wind is picked up again. You can see that those flags are they're straight out. If this game was only within three points, we might have a long field goal attempt.
A good point that I believe it was Kelly Johnson made when I was talking to him yesterday, the head coach of the North team, that a lot of these players are not used to playing 15-minute quarters.
Yeah.
In high school.
Yeah, that's true.
And some of them, he predicted, would probably get quote-unquote gassed.
Yeah. Well, and again, you're not in season, and so you've had 3 weeks of tryout. This is the equivalent of a championship-type game when you've been, had 3 months of preparation for it, and it's one of the hottest days that they've had at this time of year. So I'm surprised there hasn't been more guys cramping up. I mean, they do have a large roster, and they have been able to keep guys moving and subbing them in. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, because when you mention that, high school football in Alberta is played 12-minute quarters, and the first quarter and the third quarter are straight time, and so then the second and the fourth quarter have the stop time elements into it, but. But when you do the math on that thing, that puts a play. This could be a 2.5-hour, 3-hour game. Most high school games are over in 2 hours maximum.
As they pass downfield to Barasenkov, and he was just shy of it. Good pass thrown, though, by number 10, Jonathan Erickson. He just couldn't quite get it to his receiver.
Well, it's part of the reason why he's not getting it to his receivers because he's got guys in his face all the time. And take a look here. Great penetration. Again, my 54 steps around on the outside, and he's right there, got a hand on Erickson. He's got to rush these throws all the time. The tackles, and I don't want to keep bringing their names up, but they've really had a tough time handling this group today.
Erickson sends 4 flankers to the right side. 2 of them stay in to block. Now he'll get out of the pocket and throw it out of bounds. The closest player was probably number 82, Matt Darnell from Lacombe. And you can kind of see between plays, the pace has slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe as a coach now, with the amount of time that's left in this game, 3 minutes and 20 seconds, you're down by 22 points. You don't necessarily want to score any more to rub it into the guy's face, and then the other team, you're going, I don't know if I can score 3 touchdowns in 4 minutes, and so you're trying to do whatever you can to try to not to make this game even worse, and because the kids are going to go out there and they're going to execute because they're going to all want to play and score.
All right. On the turnover on downs, the handoff from Kai Sampson, it is taken by number 33 Bowers again. And Bowers will pick up maybe a yard.
That's that's 35.
35 Scott Strauss from Bishop Grandin.
Yeah, he hasn't had a carry yet today.
Yeah.
He looked a little bigger than Bowers. 6'1", 225 pounds, and Bowers is 5'8" and 165 pounds.
Yeah, Bowers is out there playing at the slot back position. And the big guy, Scott Strauss, is the setback. There's the fake, and getting out of the arms of the intended tackler is number 10, Kai Sampson. Gets it away and just throws it out of bounds. Nobody near it.
That's one
great job.
Yeah, of him getting away. He got out of the grasp of, I believe that was 62 from Skona. Cole Caulfield. One of the things, and I didn't bring this up, is that challenges for a defense when you have a left-handed quarterback as opposed to a right-handed quarterback, and especially when you interchange them, because as a defensive coordinator, you're calling your strength based on the arm strength of your quarterback a lot of times. So if you're in the left hash, for instance, and you've got a left-handed quarterback, then typically your strength can be to the weak side of the field. And so now you've got to make sure that you're having your defensive people set properly to take away their strengths, and that can be a challenge.
There's the punt from the 45-yard line, a big, high, towering kick into the goal zone, end zone rather, and taken out by Barasenkov, and Barasenkov is tackled at about the 12-yard line. And again, the North deep in their own zone with 2:25 to go.
And of course, with the getting it out of the end zone rule, it'll be brought back to the 20-yard line. So the North is starting with the 20-yard line. Nice job of getting the ball, fielding it first, and then getting it out of the end zone.
Well, coming off the field for the North was number 45, Ty Smith out of Bev Facey. There's a guy that can pretty much do it all too. 36 tackles, 3 interceptions this past season. Erickson at quarterback. Handoff up the middle, taken by Cullum. Cullum is over the 30, down to about the 33-yard line. And, really, Parker Cullum, we haven't, we've talked about him because he's been carrying the ball a lot, and we really haven't said that much about him. He's just quietly going about his job and doing it well. He's a kind of running back that, he's not spectacular, he's not fast, he's not quick, he just plows up the middle.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see how many rushing yards that he's had. Cullum up until the end of the third quarter, he had six rushing attempts for 11 yards. Not a huge day by any means.
But it seems like he's carried the ball more than that.
Yeah, well, and of course now he's had that carry and maybe one other carry, so it might be getting close to 10. But once again, here's your quarterback getting shot, getting tackled, and they got a chop block here on a rough play. So the chop block is a 15-yard penalty, so it's a rough play, so they should be even out. And this is what deep into the calling the captains together because with 3 minutes to go or just thereabouts, they don't say anybody get hurt, but I mean at some point as a player, I'm getting tired of getting beat, and it's not surprising that I'm a little surprised it's taken this long for something like that to happen.
Well, and as we mentioned earlier, the 15-minute quarters. I mean, you're tired, and you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, and you can probably guarantee that the kids that are playing in this game, the 80 some odd kids, who are the cream of the high school crop, and there's always going to be kids that are missed. So there's some kids that were good that aren't in this game that could have quite easily made this team. But I'll bet you of those 80 kids, most of them played both ways before.
That's true.
Because your best players are going to be on the field all the time, right? So to play in a game like this, maybe a little bit longer, but you're only playing half of it, they might be a little bit tired, but there's been such a good rotation. And once again, number 54, Nils Haney.
I was just going to say he's not looking tired at all.
No, I mean they went to chop him that time. He just stepped over the guy, got his hands up, and now they got Facey offensive lineman in there playing tackle to try to do something different.
All right, rolling out is Erickson into the middle. It is complete at the 45-yard line, and tackled almost immediately was Matt Darnell.
They got Ryan Zilski from Ben Facey playing the right tackle spot now over Haney. And they still have Dobko playing the left tackle spot. They must have some injuries, or maybe they don't have enough guys in there. But they've had their challenges today.
From the 45-yard line, 3rd and about 4. On the sidelines, it is complete at the 50 and up to center field. Tackled at that point is number 82 again, Matt Darnell. So now Darnell becomes the favorite target.
Well, he's familiar with his quarterback, that's for sure.
Both out of Lacombe Comp. Erickson looks downfield into the middle. It is knocked down. And the big guy, number 92, Reese Winder from Peace River, or make that Daniel Tazzi from Lester B. Pearson in Calgary. We haven't had a chance to mention him too often, but he's a big guy, and he was a last-minute replacement for one of the other injured Southern players.
Any more of those trivia questions before we run out? We got a minute and 10 seconds to go.
I might come up with something. Pass complete at center field. Taken by number 88, Nathan Levine, and things are starting to quiet down a little bit. The South with a minute and 2 to go.
Nathan Levine has had a decent day. He's I'm not sure how many as of the third quarter. He had 3 receptions, but I think he's had 2 or 3 more since then.
Which Alberta high school did former Lieutenant Governor of Alberta, Normie Kwong, attend and play football for?
Northern Alberta High School?
Yep.
Wow, I didn't know.
I'm sorry, which Alberta high school?
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought Normie was from the South. He was a Calgary guy. Let me see. It's got to be an old school.
Maybe it doesn't even exist anymore.
It might not even exist anymore.
A little hint there.
Yeah, because I was just looking at all the names of the schools. They're all named after politicians that were all around after Normie played. So I wouldn't know. Sorry.
Western Canada.
Western Canada.
Western Canada.
I was going to say Western Canada.
Oh, sure you're.
It doesn't exist anymore?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, I mean,
because they were called I think they were called the Western Canada All Stars, or so. I think I played rugby against them in high school. I think Western Canada still got still around, but.
And I stand corrected.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I wouldn't have. I thought that was a relatively new school. So Normie would have been playing high school in the 40s because he played with the Eskimos in 54, 55, 56. So, yeah, I've been somewhere around there, late 40s, early 50s.
Pass complete at the 35-yard line.
That's a nice job of throwing that seam pass.
Nathan Levine.
Nathan Levine again. He's gonna. He might get close to, because he did have the one really long catch over here for 25 yards, and then that one picks up a good solid 10 yards, 15 yards. He might be getting close to 100 yards.
Ball at the 33-yard line. First and 10. I think the stick carriers are getting a little tired too. Okay, there they go. Okay.
They got to wear all those clothes. Look at all that stuff.
27 seconds left in the football game. And the South on its way to its 4th consecutive win in the Senior Bowl and 5th in the last 6 years. Back in the pocket.
Oh, God, Niles.
Gets away from one tackler.
Gets away from
Erickson being hurried. It is incomplete.
Well, they just added on to it because number 64 from South, I think, took a rough play on the quarterback. So that's a little late hit Dorian Zadima, sorry. And he's going off the field. I think that's his second penalty today. One was an unsportsmanlike conduct, and then this was a rough play. And they're telling him to sit on the bench for the rest of the day.
Dorian Zadima from Winston Churchill High School in Lethbridge.
He's going to give the North an opportunity with 17 seconds left.
6'4", 275 pounds. He's a big kid.
Yeah, he's a big kid.
All right, Erickson at quarterback. Parker Cullum at running back and into the end zone. High lofted pass and caught, but out of bounds. And that brings the clock down to about 11 seconds. North just trying to save a little pace here.
It's about the time that I would be putting in Jake Withrow.
What a game he's had.
Yeah, when you look at the impact that he's had on the game, with the limited amount of touches that he had.
Another pass into the end zone and over the head of number 88, Nathan Levine, who's had himself quite a football game as well. On the south side, too, you got to look at, especially on defense. I mean, it's just been an incredible game out there for Nils Haney, Subomi Oyasoro.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, I would say Haney. And I mean, there's a number of guys, as you mentioned, number 57. So, yeah, Oyasoro was
Oyasoro.
55. Dorsich, sorry.
There's the pass, complete touchdown, and Nathan Levine caps a pretty good afternoon off.
Yeah.
With
Nathan Levine. Who else has had days? Well, how do you not say? What about John Evans? Who could be upwards of 180 yards in rushing today? Just how did he impact the game? How much more of an impact would he have had on the game if they played him more?
That's true. Kai Sampson saw most of the action in the first quarter, or first half rather.
Yeah. And then they split it in the second half. I would say that it certainly wasn't an even 50-50 split. It got to be closer to 50-50, but I still say that it was probably more like 60-40. And but Evans is one of those guys with the way he plays, so much different than Kai Sampson. Kai Sampson can throw the ball, can run the ball, and they both can do both of those things. But I just think that Evans is such a threat in the run. It's like it. I can't imagine. We saw the defensive ends, playing the ball as good as they could play it, and all of a sudden the guy's he's Houdini and he's not there anymore.
38-23, final 4 seconds of the football game. And stay with us. Of course, we will have some presentations, and we'll talk about some of the late game statistics, see how things ironed out for both these teams. But again, as I mentioned, 4th consecutive year at the South has come up with the victory in this Senior Bowl, the 29th annual version of it.
As I mentioned, there's been a number of reasons why there's been a little bit of a discrepancy in the last, let's say, 5 to 10 years between the North and the South in total amount of victories and wins. Because for a while there, the North ran roughshod in all divisions, and then it swung back the other way. But I want to say that a big reason why that's the case is I just think that the coaching that the South, the difference in level of coaching over the last 10 years, and in all areas of sport and football, but for some reason when you see the those teams play, when you watch them on film, you just see a high level of execution and performance, and that just bodes well. That just points directly to who's pulling the strings, and I think that the coaching has done just an outstanding job in making the playing field unlevel.
The run back by number 33, David Bowers. He runs it back about 25 yards or so, and that will be the end of the football game, with the South beating the North by a score of 38-23. And in this case, you'd have to say that the score definitely is indicative of what this football game was all about. A bunch of very happy players down there, and well, they should be. Their next step for many of them, probably half or whatever, will be either university football or the juniors.
Yeah, and the thing to keep that'd be interesting to watch, and I'd love to be able to go back over the years and see how many of these games that I've seen and watched, and how many of those kids have gone on to play, obviously at the university level, but at the professional level. Mm-hmm. When I look back at the game that I was able to be involved in 2007, Calgary had two guys, or the South team had two guys that were from Calgary. One of them was a receiver who ended up still playing with the Calgary Stampeders, and then the other one was a running back named Matt Walters, who played with the Calgary Stampeders and went on to play in Saskatchewan. And so they had two guys that would eventually play professionally. And those are the kinds of guys, when you see this game, you know that within 5 or 6 years from now, somebody from this game is going to be playing professionally. Probably the chances of it happening is going to be really, really high. And
you can say that you were there.
Yeah, wow.
Both of us can say we.
Yeah, it just is. It's fun to watch the progression of these players and athletes, and you can obviously, when you look at them, you can see the how big they are now in all areas. I always used to say this. I was lucky enough to be on the Vanier Cup winning or national championship team with the University of Alberta Golden Bears in 1980, and 1980, and we had our starting center was an All-Canadian. He was an All-Canadian center, and he was 215 pounds. And the center for this game, both teams were probably closer to 270 pounds.
Wow.
So yeah, guys are getting bigger.
No.
Okay, so look at the final stats here. If we could take a quick boo at these things. Total first downs in the 7 first downs in the second half. Total of 13 first downs for the South, 18 for the North. They had yards rushing, 271 yards rushing for the South. Of course, that 170 of that goes to Evans, and 71 yards for the North. 110 yards passing, which surprised me because I thought that the South would be airing it out a little bit more than that, to 282 yards for the North, 110 to 282. Team losses, there was only 18 yards in losses for the South, and a whopping 84 for the North. That's a huge difference. Net offense, 363 yards to 269. So the almost 100 yards difference is the team losses. So when you look at it statistically, it wasn't that far off in a game. Passes made and tried, ultimately 5 for 18 for the South, and 17 completions out of 40 attempts for the North.
Now, you look at that 5 for 18 for the South, and you ask yourself, how many times did John Evans have the opportunity to pass and then just haul it down and go himself?
Yeah, well, but that wouldn't
probably half a dozen times.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have accounted for in those. It's the drop balls, that
That's true too.
Those are the ones that really that hurt more than anything.
Well, the football game is over for another year, the Senior Bowl. Next year it'll be heading down south, and the South coming up with a 38-23 victory to add to their total of 16 wins over the 29 years that this game has been going on, and an entertaining football game. But these kids now have other things to think about, and most of them will be, some of them will be going to the University football or to the junior football. And so the final score once again is the South 38, the North 23. And I'm Dave Rozak on behalf of the crew at ICU Video and Blake Dermott. Thank you for watching. Let's go down to the field level for the presentation.
Trophy to today's winning team. The Most Valuable Lineman Award is named after former Calgary Stampeder lineman Lanny Bolesky, whose high school days were spent blocking for the Red Deer Raiders of the Central Alberta High School League. Presenting these awards for the North and South All-Stars are Mr. Brian Brantford, President of Football Alberta, and Mr. Neil Gerritsen, President of the CDMFA, that's the Capital District Minor Football Association for you Calgary folks. The winner of the Lanny Bolesky Memorial Most Lineman Award for the North All-Stars is number 64, Kyle Thies from Lloydminster. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Lanny Bolesky Memorial Most Valuable Lineman of the Game Award for the South All-Stars is number 54, Nils Haney from Olds. And now for the presentation of the Most Valuable Player Awards for both teams, once again presented by Brian Brantford and Neil Gerritsen. The winner of the Most Valuable Player of the Game Award for the North All-Star team is, from Bev Facey, number 11, receiver Jake Withrow. And the winner of the Most Valuable Player of the Game Award for the South All-Star team is, from LCI in Lethbridge, number 5, quarterback John Evans. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to present the championship trophy to the victors of the Football Alberta Senior Bowl is once again Mr. Brian Brantford, President of Football Alberta. Would the captains of the South please come forward to receive the Football Alberta Senior Bowl championship trophy?
And there you have it, the presentation of the trophy for the 16th time in 29 years to the South team, and no surprise as far as MVPs are concerned. Blake, John Evans for the South, and Jake Withrow for the North.
Yeah, when you look at their totals, 181 yards rushing for one and 142 yards receiving for the other. I think they got the lineman right too. All we could talk about was Nils Haney for the last quarter. He just seemed like every time that the North tried to pass, he was in the lap of Erickson, and I felt it was one of those games where it's an all-star game. You don't see a whole lot of broken hearts, and thank God, with the exception of Reese, nobody got injured, and they can, because so many of these guys have a big future in front of them.
Well, it's been a pleasure working with you once again. It's been a couple of years. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And on behalf of ICU Video and Blake Dermott, I'm Dave Rozak. Thank you for watching, everyone.